A signal.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to That Pretentious Book Club.
Hi, friends. Welcome back.
We are joined once again by our wonderful, darling, beautiful sister podcast host from the Scripturient Society, Karissa Harlow, aka Katherine, aka Lewis. Those were all yours, right?
That's it. Yeah.
That's it.
That's good.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone.
Applause,
So
applause.
welcome back. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be a good episode. I should have had a more dramatic entrance for the episode because we all have very dramatic vibes going on.
Yeah.
This episode, I'm just going to go ahead and say, is Phantom of the Opera. And
Yay!
so, we told Katherine over there, hey, whichever episode you want to join us for, you can. And we gave her a listen. She was like, Phantom of the Opera, definitely. And we all came today, and she's wearing a choker necklace that's black and pretty. Spoons is wearing this black lacy shirt thing. And I'm wearing my grandmother's costume jewelry. So we all look like we're ready for the opera.
Yes.
But not the Phantom.
All right.
Are we? I feel ready for the Phantom.
You feel ready for the Phantom? You would say that.
I have so many thoughts. I am really excited.
I would love to put you and the Phantom of the Opera in a room together and just see you try and have discourse with him, because I feel like he'd say something crazy and you'd be like, well, yeah, but what about this? And you would just be debating.
I'll just logic him out of all of his actions.
Be on his
Exactly.
level.
Yeah, exactly. It would be funny. So anyways, how has y'all's weeks been? You want to start with Lewis?
I mean, my week has been good. We just talked yesterday. So what did I say? So I'm the co-host of the other podcast, which is a writing podcast. And I just finished a short story that I'm going to send off to a contest. It's dark, but I really like it. I've been accidentally writing a lot of more horror fantasy kind of things lately. So it was very in theme with that, but I'm really excited. I think it's good. So I've been editing that.
And intense.
Thank you.
She was like, here, you can read it. And she told me it was dark, and I just didn't expect the kind of dark that it ended up being. So I was like, what just happened?
Oh, no.
It's really hard to gauge what people
good.
mean by that, because sometimes people are like, oh, there's some death, and sometimes people are like, here's this really traumatic thing.
And I've read your other things, and so I thought I kind of knew what your version of dark was, and this was a whole different level. So I'm telling her, if it doesn't get a mention or whatever in the contest she submitted to, she should publish it so we can share it with everybody.
Oh my God, I want to read it now.
I want everyone to experience the same shock.
Please
that
do,
I did.
friend.
Yeah, I will.
And then you have to text me when you hit the moment. You'll know when you're there.
I'll be like, this isn't that bad. Oh my God.
That was exactly what I did.
I feel like I might have accidentally given Ash a red herring because something dark happens. And so I think maybe she thought that was the dark thing, but then it goes darker, right at the very end. So
yeah, I thought the whole thing kind of had horror sci-fi vibes a little bit. Yeah. And then I was like, oh, this isn't even that kind. This is just horrible in any genre. This is scary.
Universally awful.
Yeah, this is just universal. This is not genre specific darkness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was fun. And that's about it. I'm totally blanking on everything that has happened to me in my life. So that's all I got.
Yeah, no worries. What about you, Spoons, my waifu?
Hello, dearest. Well, I also lately people ask me what I'm doing or what I've done, and I'm like, I literally have no idea. I don't know. I think my memory is getting worse, but I
join the team.
Yeah, seriously. This last weekend, that was my one thing I had, and now I'm like,
that's my one skill.
Well, now we'll get t-shirts, and then t-shirts will be the one thing you have.
I'm gonna forget about this anyway, so you can just surprise me with the t-shirt.
Yeah,
look what we did. This last weekend I went to my little brother's band competition, so that was really fun.
Cool.
I think I mentioned that last time though, so I don't know.
You did.
See, I don't even know what I'm doing. And then yesterday, I've also been writing a lot.
Yay.
But I am having a thing where I'm trying, I keep wanting to make things really dark, and then I have to be like, no, pull back.
No, I don't have that instinct at all.
It's this specific thing. Usually I'm like, sure, just go for it. But this thing is I don't think it really works as well. So I'm having to stop myself, which is kind of frustrating. But
now I want to know which book is this?
The Midsummer Night's Dream one.
I want to
dark.
know.
It's originally a comedy.
I know,
like go dark.
What the dark thing is.
Well,
that's why it would be. You get the shock factor because no one's expecting it.
You're like, this will have a happy ending, and then you're like, psych, no, darkness everywhere.
And now it's a tragedy.
Yeah, I'm here to bastardize the original genre. That was my goal.
I'm CWing it. But yeah, and then I got all the cats. Haley is leaving. I don't know why I said I got all the cats, but they're sitting in front of me. That's why I said that. Haley is leaving for Peru this week. So like literally, she might interrupt me while we're doing this to say bye. So
then I'll get to say goodbye to her also. She joined us last episode for Fallen Kingdoms, and it was delightful. And Lewis has also read Fallen Kingdoms, which is great because it's good.
I have. Yes, I read the first 3, I believe, and I can't remember if it's 5 or 6. Okay, I can't remember anyone's names because it was a long time ago. I read these. I don't.
I need to know.
I don't even remember, but I have read them.
We had the most shocking. I've never been more shocked by something that Spoons has admitted in her entire life ever. I've never been more surprised.
Did you like that the bad boy character?
Oh my god.
Or the villain?
This is the one time in my life I've ever like shipped the girl with the bad boy. Like
yeah, and you picked the most controversial bad boy.
Like the thing is he a bad boy? He's more like
he's not even
sad as you get along.
He's a sad boy.
What's going on?
Like, describe him real fast for me. He's the one who does what?
He's the one who's in love with his sister in the
Okay, yes. I do remember that.
Is that did you ship him and the princess, or did you ship the cute little revolutionary boy Jonas and the princess?
I kind of shipped the bad boy in this case. I remember liking him a lot. I don't know why. Something about that book
in the air where you guys are just.
Because I remember the sister and thinking like, gosh, this is really creepy, but also why am I into this?
This book does something to you people.
Yeah.
So if you guys, once you get to book 2, you'll understand, I think, or even book 3. But
yeah. But if you typically like the friends to lovers as opposed to the enemies to lovers, not that it's really either of those, but maybe this one flips that.
This one is sort of both enemies to lovers. Yeah. Either way you do it. So
I just like Jonas because of the revolutionary thing.
That makes sense to me.
He's a mad boy, and the other guy Magnus is a sad boy.
Mad boy or sad boy.
It's because is it because he's a prince? He's a prince, right?
He is a prince.
It might be because he's a prince.
See, the prince thing does stuff to me too. Yeah,
it sways me.
Oh, see, I'm like down with the royalty. Down with the royals. I'm with Jonas.
See, we're still being consistent to who we are, personality-wise.
I don't know why, but I always go for the royal option if there is one. Like
you do.
I am not super proud of it. I don't consider myself a monarchist, but something about fictional royalty, I'm like, oh my god, yes.
I agree.
That is so funny. I relate to the royals when they're women, hence I'm like, and the chance to wear my sparkly jewelry and pretend I'm a queen. I wore a crown last episode, but I don't want my men to be royal. Absolutely not. I want
Interesting take.
I like it.
You want to support them, not the other way around.
Yeah, exactly. Apparently, yeah.
That's fun.
No. Anything else in your week, or was that was the last thing you remember?
Me? Oh yeah. I guess so. I don't know. Well, I'm really excited because we're going to have fun this weekend.
Yes.
We're going to a pumpkin patch on Saturday.
And that is how I remembered. I was like, oh yeah, Haley's going to be out of town. And I know because Kendall texted me and said, hey, you want to hang out this weekend? And I was like, that's right. Haley's going to be going.
You're her backup friend.
Yeah, I'm the backup plan.
No.
It's okay. I don't mind. I'm so naturally like an isolated personality. I'm like, I don't feel left out. I like to pretend that I do, but I don't. So I get excited though, because I forget that it's an option to hang out with people. So you'll text me when I do something and I'm like, oh my God, I can do that.
I can do that.
Yeah, we can do that. We can hang out.
We can hang out. And so yes, we're going to a pumpkin patch. I'm very excited. I have been all week trying to decide which of my fall outfits am I gonna wear.
The new ones.
Maybe
the new ones, all your new ones. Mm-hmm. Here's the thing I did. I went and bought fabric and a pattern this week because I was like, I have to make a new outfit for the pumpkin patch.
Oh my gosh.
I am sewing a new dress for the
This is so exciting. Okay, cool. So now I have to decide what my options are. I'm going to send you pictures. I have
great.
2 good options because I got like 3 outfits, but like one of them's not really a good option for it. And then, so 2 of them are like more wearable options. So.
Okay.
And I have these cute little vintage boots and you're going to totally love them. And I'm so happy. I never buy shoes because they're always expensive. And they were deeply discounted, but still the most expensive shoes I've ever bought, like with their original price. So I was like, I am so fancy with my beautiful fancy boots. It's good.
Oh, that's so exciting.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. I'm going to give you guys my update now, which is that I know you were going to ask anyways. I just couldn't wait. I was like, I could wait for them to naturally transition me into my week, but I'm just going to go for it, which is that.
Jump in.
Go do it.
Yeah. My friend, Marissa from Mermaid School, which is what I'm now referring to, the free dive / mermaid retreat, where we all got Patty free dive and Patty mermaid certified. I'm just going to call it Mermaid School because it's shorter now. And I accidentally did that yesterday anyways. So
I like it.
My friend Marissa from Mermaid School, my mermaid colleague, she sent me out of the blue. By the way, you guys should follow her on Instagram. She is at Mermaid Leroux. And if you guys want to book a mermaid for your events, she is great and excellent and good with kids. So go check that out. But anyway, so Mermaid Leroux sent me a tail out of the blue from Finfolk. You guys have no idea like how much this means to me. Like when I went to mermaid school, I had told Marissa back then, I was like, my options were to make my own tail and come to the retreat, even though I look a little wonky next to all of these girls with their beautiful like store-bought tails. And then they're like professional level tails is what it is. And then like I could have done that, or I could have gotten a really nice tail and not afforded the retreat. And so I picked obviously to go get my certifications. And so I don't know if I don't know what inspired her. I didn't know that about the spoons knew about this in advance because Marissa had contacted her to ask for my size, which is adorable.
What sizes do mermaid tails come in? Like small, medium, and large? Are they like pant sizes?
Finfolk does, but it depends. Most mermaid tails are custom, so you have to send like individual measurements, and it's a whole thing. Especially if it's a silicone tail. Oh my god, don't get me started. There's no such thing as like a small, medium, large. Like not even.
She knows so much about this very specific
so much
thing.
about this industry. I can tell you guys everything. But anyways, the thing is, all the tails are a little expensive. The fabric tails are not as expensive as they used to be, but still, with like my house falling down and stuff, I was like, great. Now it's going to be another 2 years before I can justify spending money on a fabric tail. And out of the blue, this box shows up and we're on our way to go grab lunch because I was grumpy and hadn't eaten. And Javi was just like, well, instead of making food, I think this is urgent and I'm just going to go get you some Whataburger. So it was a good choice.
Emergency fast food.
Yeah. Like I was so hungry. I was nauseous because that's what happened. So I was in the car trying not to throw up and there was a box by the gate. And so I picked up the box and I was opening it in the car on the way to get food. And I was like, is this a mermaid tail? What's happening? I was like, this has got to be a mistake. And I thought it had Marissa's name. So I was like, Marissa, did you, because we write each other letters. I was like, did you send this to the wrong address? Like what? And she was like, nope, it's for you. And I was like, this is not happening. Oh my God. So then I came back home and I tried it on and then I wore it in bed for 45 minutes or more. Probably it was more. It was probably closer to an hour and a half. Cause at the point, like my lunch hour ended. And I took like a bunch of like pictures of my tail and stuff. And then I was like, Javi, could you please bring me my work computer? I'm not taking this off. And so I worked in bed with my mermaid tail on.
I love that.
Yeah, because I'm obsessed with it now. And so, yeah, so now I'm like, okay, now when can I go try this thing out? Because I want to go in the water so bad. And anyways, the deepest lake in Texas is only like an hour from us, which I didn't know. So I'm like, maybe I will go do that. But so I'm thrilled. Marissa, Mermaid Leroux, thank you. I owe you my entire soul. My soul is forfeit to you. You can have it.
Really, this was just an Ursula move. She just
it
bought
really
your
was.
soul.
You know what? That's true. And I was looking on Etsy. I was like, well, now I need to get her something spectacular. And so I was looking on Etsy because there's all this mermaid stuff I never have an excuse to buy. But I was like, hang on, if I'm buying it for Marissa. So obviously, Marissa, if you're listening, you're getting a surprise coming your way. And it's not this one, but I am going to keep this in mind for the future. There is some artist who made this shell, like the seashell necklace from The Little Mermaid, and it glows. It like turns on and glows, and it really looks like a real shell that glows. And I was like, oh my God, this vibe is way too intense for me. But yeah, so it's really only been like the last like 24 to 48 hours, but that's the best part of my week. So by far.
so happy when you sent me the picture, and then I was cracking up in like a fun, endeared way because I went to your Instagram and like you posted like 5 videos of it on.
Dude, I held back too. I was like, I have 10. Okay, don't post 10. Ash, don't do it. And so I was like, I will post 3 on my story and save them to highlights. And then I will post 2 or 3 on my Instagram. And then I posted like 3 on TikTok. And I was like, okay, eventually I will just get all of them out there.
Yeah, just ration them out.
Right.
Yes.
Put them
and
in,
nobody knows how much it means to me. So on TikTok, especially, I posted one that was with this. There's this like really like soothing jazzy song that starts something like I've still waiting to become a mermaid, or I've always wanted to become a mermaid, or something like that. And so I was like mouthing along to the song in it, but I just look like this total weirdo. Like I'm like on my bed with my tail on, and I'm like, there's nothing artistic about this. This is just a moment in my life that I needed to mark somehow. So people are seeing this, and I'm like, you know what? It's okay. I'm okay if the world sees me like this, but this is not like a cute look for me. It's not like
I love it. You looked very cute.
You look happy.
Yeah, you look
I was
so
very
happy.
happy. So that's why I was like, I feel like I need to mark the happiness of this moment, even if I'm not prepared. Like I should have done like cute like hair and makeup and put on like a cute top and stuff.
No time for that. Got to capture the reaction.
The moment.
Right.
Exactly. So very, very excited. And then in other news, very briefly, our guinea flew away. So Kitty's gone.
Oh no.
They can fly?
Guineas can fly. Yeah. The idea was that we knew that she would eventually, but she was supposed to have a whole flock of guineas to follow her. That did not happen. So I don't.
Kitty.
I know. I feel bad for her. I don't think she's going to make it very far. So
why would you get a bird that will fly away?
Well, because we were hoping that we could kind of train them to like train as much as you can train guineas to like roost somewhere on the property. So they would just roam the property. Even if they just roamed the land around the property, that's fine. That's close enough. The other guineas, the 3 guineas that were here before us, they live on the neighbor's property sometimes our property. You just never know. And so I was hoping for that kind of situation. And I also just love the idea that like my neighbors can't do anything about this. Nobody can tame the guineas. They're completely ungovernable. And I love that so much. But the universe does not want me to have guineas, apparently. That, and today I planted a pomegranate tree and a currant tree on my lunch break because they came in the mail and I was like, yay!
Hey, cool. So, love pomegranates. We used to have a pomegranate tree at our house and it was the best ever.
Yeah. So hopefully they last. We had a pomegranate tree and a fig tree when we lived in North Texas, and these 2 stupid pointers that we inherited ate them down to the nubs.
Oh no.
And chewed off the side of our house.
Well,
I don't like pointers. I'm sorry if you have a pointer. I don't like them. I'm sorry.
What is a pointer?
It's a type of dog. It's like a hunting dog.
Oh, the ones that point.
The pointing dogs.
Yes, the pointing ones. We have German short-haired pointers, which are like a very like common hunting dog. And they were just so stupid. Their names were Belle and Lucky. Lucky's full name was actually Damn Lucky because she had been bitten by a copperhead twice and survived.
I remember this story.
Yes.
You told me this before.
It's iconic. Yeah.
Yeah.
They were the worst. Yep. But anyways, that's my week, and that's a little bit of my past for just fun peppered in there for no reason at all.
Funsies.
Character backstory.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Absolutely.
Well, I have a wrap up
go for it.
Last week. So last week, as usual, I messed up again and didn't find Morgan Rhodes. I almost called her Lee Bardugo. Incorrect. Morgan Rhodes.
Who's someone else? Did you do that, Karissa, when I was telling you about Fallen Kingdoms? No, maybe it was Caleb. I literally was just talking to someone about Fallen Kingdoms when they were like, oh, that was Lee Bardugo. Oh, I mean Morgan Rhodes. And I was like, what?
Those names are nothing alike.
I don't know. They are both blonde women who write really dark stuff. So maybe that's it.
Similar vibes. Sorry, but continue.
Yeah.
So
well,
Morgan Rhodes.
Our pod astrologist, Katherine, she has pointed me in the correct direction for Morgan Rhodes's correct birthday, which is February 17th. So she is an Aquarius. Thank you to Katherine once again, saving the day.
Heck yeah.
Here's a tidbit that no one cares about. That's the birthday of the love interest in the book I wrote.
Oh,
that's interesting.
I love a fictional birthday.
Yeah.
Someday when you're famous from these books that you've published, someone is going to listen to this episode and be like, oh my God.
Message me, the famous me. I will respond.
Yeah. And then watch you not. How crushing. Message me. I'll gossip about her with you guys. Don't even worry.
Yeah, if I don't respond, just contact Ash.
Yeah, exactly. And then I'll make her feel bad about it. Don't even worry. I'm here for that. So I actually just realized I totally pulled the spoons and didn't research this author at all.
Nice. I know nothing about this one,
I
so I
love that
can't
it's
fill
called Pulling
in.
the Spoons. I mean, it's accurate and fair.
Exactly.
I think this is the only time where I have like hardcore not until like a second before I have to tell the bio. I'm like, oh no.
Like, oh no, can I
Just
sneak this
forget that I have a
research?
job. I'm like, oh right, I am supposed to do that as a.
Well, that was what I did this episode because I finished reading this on like Tuesday also, so I like haven't really thought about this since then. But I will, if you guys are ready, we can just try. I'm gonna try and get through this bio with you guys.
Just go for it.
Cool. Okay, so I'm getting this all from Britannica. This is so we're doing Phantom of the Opera this episode, and I'm going to tell you guys about the author Gaston Leroux. I assume is how it's pronounced. Karissa, do you know, because you're learning French?
I thought it was Leroux, but I could be wrong because I'm not actually great at the pronunciation part. It's one of those.
Gaston Leroux. Okay, I'm going to say Gaston Leroux, who was born May 6th, 1868 in Paris. And I do not know what zodiac sign that is. Do you know, Spoons?
Taurus.
Oh, yes, Taurus. Yes, I should know. Whoops. Okay, cool. So he's a Taurus. I get that. That makes sense. French novelist. I don't know if you guys could tell from his name and everything about the book that this is a French book. And in the book, they talk about French people a lot. And they're like, here's the thing about French people is they lie all the time.
See, this is why I love the French authors and like all of the French literature and why I wanted to be on this episode, because they're just so like self-deprecating about their own culture. It's great.
I realize I think I also love French literature. They are hilarious. Like,
they're subtly hilarious. Like you might miss it if you're not paying attention.
About the French, they don't like us and they don't like our literature.
Is that a secret?
No, it's not. It's just
the worst kept secret in the world.
It really is. Part of me just feels like almost like attacked when I'm reading French literature, just because I know that like even if I appreciate it, I'm like, they would never ever appreciate this if I wrote it.
Yeah. You have to hate it on not impulse, on a principle.
Principle,
yeah. That was a stupid word to mix up. Go on.
It was another
malapropism.
Malapropism. Yeah. I had the hardest time trying to remember that word last night. So he is French, and that means that he is very consistent and entertaining. You know, I think the whole country of France might be Taurus in their energy. They're very consistently them. You always know what to expect from French media.
True.
Anyway, so he is obviously best known for the book that was published in 1910, which we know as The Phantom of the Opera, but was originally called in French, and I'm going to try this, and then Karissa can correct me, Le Fantôme de l'Opera. Something like that. Yeah. This is why I'm like, I know we have a French listener for one. I believe her name is Jane. Jane, I apologize for first of all for making fun of French people, but also not that much. It's okay. You can make fun of me too. I'm really sorry for my pronunciations. But I'm going to go ahead and just full steam ahead and pretend I know how to do it.
Watch as I totally corrected your correct pronunciation and I actually made it wrong. And this listener is like, oh my gosh, who is this person?
Well, that would be very American of us. We're just being consistently American. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm American.
Like, cut us some slack, French listeners. Okay.
Yeah. Your language is hard. Okay. There are too many vowels and no consonants are pronounced.
Yeah. Y'all's consonants are confusing. So anyways, he went to school. I'm guessing like just normal grammar school, left school, became a clerk in a law office and began writing essays and short stories in his free time. By 1890, he had become a journalist full time. And then from 1894 to 1906, he sailed the world as a correspondent, reporting back to Paris. How can I possibly find a different way to mispronounce Paris? I know it's like Paris or something, and I still found a different way. Reporting back to Paris, his adventures during that time.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah. Nice. One of the adventures in which he took part was the Russian Revolution of 1905.
Well,
all right.
Just traveled abroad to fight a war and then came home.
Yeah. So we're bringing in the other language that I'm learning, actually. We have a Karissa language. We have a me language. Also, Marissa, aka Mermaid Maru, I believe, is also learning Russian. She probably speaks it better than me. I believe. I don't think I dreamed that. I think that was real, but you never know. You never know. Let's see. In the early 1900s, he started to write novels. His first successful one was published in 1907. It was called The Mystery of the Yellow Room. I'm not going to try and pronounce this one in French. There's too many words I don't know how to pronounce, but I feel like Karissa could possibly pronounce it.
I know yellow is Jean.
Or that's how you say it?
Yeah. Is it EU or AU?
AU.
I think that's Jean.
Jean. So
I think.
Something, Le Mystery is how I'm going to say that. De la Chambre Jaune?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Dang.
I think I got the chambre closer. I don't know. The Le Mystery is spelled Mystere. Le Mystery. How would you?
Le Mystère.
Mystère. Le Mystère de la Chambre Jaune.
I mean, it sounds good to me, but I literally know nothing. So
Jane, I hope I'm making you cringe.
That's the goal.
That's what I'm here for.
Jane, send us your feedback after. I'm dying to know.
Yeah, send feedback, please do. I won't be offended. I'm gonna steel myself so I know exactly what to expect, which is disappointment. Which is, I think what the French do best anyways. So
it's all very in character. So
yeah, exactly. So the star character of The Mystery of the Yellow Room was an amateur detective named Joseph Rouletabille, something like that.
Nice.
And then there were a number of sequels that followed, which were not as successful. Obviously, The Phantom of the Opera was his most successful work, but it looks like the majority of his literary career, other than that, was detective novels, which I feel like you kind of get that vibe in The Phantom of the Opera.
Yeah, because it's like the weird narrator thing where the narrator's like, I'm figuring it out. You know what? I really respect somebody who's like, I'm gonna make up a detective and write 80,000 things with this one detective. That is the best genre we have, truly, as a society. Like,
you think so?
Whodunit?
Agree, it's good.
Detective novels, incredible work. Like, I love.
I ghost wrote a series of 5 books that were whodunits with the same detective.
Incredible.
You can't tell us what they are.
I'm not allowed to for my NDA, but I followed it, and I will say, because it's so formulaic, it's almost like it kind of feels like exercising. Like, it's not like it's exactly easy, but like, you know what to do. You don't have to be like, gee, I wonder what components my story is missing. Yeah, it's pretty easy to tell. Nice. So The Phantom of the Opera, this was interesting, actually appeared in serial form before it was published as a novel, which I actually feel
could believe that with the chapters at the end. They were like, the Persian story continued. And so on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It felt, I think for 2 different reasons, I think it felt to be occasionally a little disjointed. And I think that's because A, it's a translation, so a lot is missed in translation. And then B, it was published as a serial before, which I didn't know, and makes a lot of sense. But when it was first published, it's kind of funny, it received only, quote, moderate sales and somewhat poor reviews. So apparently the book did not achieve international celebrity until the American actor Lon Chaney created the title role in the silent film version in 1925. And then The Phantom of the Opera novel in 1986. No, the musical, sorry. Andrew Lloyd Webber's musical, The Phantom of the Opera, which came out in 1986, was really what renewed fame for the novel. So this is one of those cases where really until like 86 years after it was published or something, maybe not 86, but 76 years after it was published, it was like, it's kind of interesting. And now it's like known the world over, like many times over.
That's fascinating.
It is also really interesting that it's about the opera, but it took like 3 iterations for it to get a musical.
I was just thinking that. Like,
a book and a silent film.
Yeah, silent film. It's all about music. Like, what? That's crazy.
So weird.
It is. It's super strange. And so I did keep picturing when I was reading the book, all the characters as the characters in the movie, because it's what I know the best. And I was like, oh, this is where that song comes in. And I kept thinking things like, why didn't they like take more like specific songs and like inspiration for the songs and The Phantom of the Opera? I mean, I love it, so I really can't have any actual critique, but it was confusing. And there were some things I liked a lot more in the opera, actual like musical opera version than in the book. But
me too.
It wasn't a translation that was published in serial form and then crammed into a novel. So I feel like that's not terribly shocking. Leroux published several other novels and a few more plays, but aside from some mystery aficionados, he never achieved wide fame as a writer of horror and crime stories. That is a direct quote from Britannica, but I think that's a little bit funny. Let's see. He wrote pseudoscientific fantasy.
What?
Yeah, which is interesting.
Goodness.
It looks like this is all one story. Okay, hang on. So Oh, no. That's just like they randomly put a definition of a mystery story in the middle of this article for some reason. I was like, I don't think so. He didn't write that much. Let's see. Did I somehow go to a new page? Like, what happened here? This is why I tried to do my research in advance. Is that really all we got on him?
When did he die?
Yeah, just when did he die is probably good enough.
Okay, well, I wanted to know about his personal life. I wanted the tea. I wanted
maybe
to know
he had no personal life. Maybe
Yeah,
he was
maybe
like the Phantom.
Yeah, he
I
could have been a
feels like he
loser.
didn't. Could have been a loser, like the Phantom.
Yeah, the Phantom is a loser,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna
Which,
say it many times.
by the way, he's called the Ghost, the opera ghost. He's not ever called the Phantom.
He's not even the Phantom. That is interesting because that's the title. That's the original title. Although maybe Phantom, like in French, means ghost, not phantom.
Yeah, it could just be like they picked that translation of it. I want to see a more recent translation. I want somebody, like there's like multiple translations of other things, like Beowulf.
Yeah, I was gonna say Beowulf.
yeah, there's so many translations. I want to see a different translation of Le Fantôme de l'Opera.
Good job.
Which I think what I'm trying to go for with my accent is just, can I sound as snooty as humanly possible?
That's how you do it.
Yeah, I feel like what?
Oh, I was just gonna say Wikipedia also has nothing else other than what you said.
Oh my goodness. Okay, he's a mystery, Gaston Leroux. Maybe he's not real.
Maybe he lived underground and just built his own fortress.
Maybe this is a memoir. Maybe this is a personal autobiography.
There you go.
Gaston Leroux is just a made-up name. I feel like it's very possible.
Eric is his ghost Sona.
His ghost Sona. Ooh, that's so funny. Back on the mermaid thing very briefly, one of my I texted what?
Haley? Yeah. Are you leaving? Yeah. Okay, I have to go say bye, Haley.
Haley, goodbye.
I don't know you.
Not gonna
goodbye.
I don't know you. She's gonna go say goodbye, but she's gonna forget to say goodbye for me.
Have fun. This is fun. You're having fun.
You're having fun.
The Zoom is just focusing in on Kendall's bookshelves because her voice is still the loudest, except for right now because I'm the only one talking now, but it was before.
You're funny.
Oh my gosh.
Oh God. I wonder what that was. Now I'm like, I want in on the joke. I'm also like, I'm almost out of wine.
Already?
Disappointing. Yeah, already.
You know, I was going to bring beer and cranberry juice, but then I lost track of time.
Do you mix those together? I forget.
I do.
Is that?
Yep.
Why?
Because I am blasphemous to beer lovers and wine lovers alike.
And cranberry juice lovers.
Probably.
That's upsetting.
Yeah.
That sounds so disgusting.
It's less disgusting than you would think, but not good. So
why do you drink it then?
Because there's no other alcohol in the house and there's cranberry juice. And so I figure
go get your own alcohol?
I could, but why leave the house when you don't have to?
Why leave the house when you have beer and cranberry juice? You can mix together and pretend it's wine, a really horrible, horrible version of wine.
Yeah.
The French are disappointed in you.
That's okay.
So are the Italians. The Italians are crossing themselves. They are horrified.
I mean, I am descended from the French and I am Cajun French, which is already like the, bastardized hillbilly bastardized French. So they'd probably not approve of me anyway.
No,
so that's fine.
Spoons, we have to diverge from the topic at hand because you need to know what Karissa just.
What'd she say?
Okay, so my drink of choice right now, I don't have it with me, but I was going to have it, is beer mixed with cranberry juice in like cocktail form. It's
Doesn't that sound disgusting? Your face is not repulsed and I'm confused.
I think I would try it.
There you go. Thank you.
I would try it too, but like not because I think it's going to be good, because I need to understand just how bad it is.
I mean, it sounds like it could be a Christmas ale or something to me.
What kind of beer are you mixing the cranberry?
Yeah,
with?
that's important, I guess, to know.
Yeah,
I don't know. I think it's technically a lager. What's the difference?
Okay,
I think it's about half and half. That's what I usually do.
This doesn't sound good at all.
I eyeball it.
This is fascinating, and I eyeball it. It's like also I spit it out and I pour it down the drain too, and then I fish it out and then I drink it.
Yeah,
yeah.
That's God. I might make it taste better. Yeah. Disgusting. The Italian in me is
variety.
I think that's what it is. I feel like my soul is trying to like fight its way out of my body at this news. I'm
just trying to steal your soul back from
send
Marissa.
You some wine,
so.
okay? Oh, there's a war for my souls. I feel so special. Souls, plural. Ooh, I was meant to say soul, but that's actually that's like a sneak tidbit hint about Karissa's short story.
Oh God.
The plurality of the soul. Just kidding.
No, I'm scared. Okay.
Yeah, you should be. Not as scared as I was when Karissa said, I wish I had brought my beer and cranberry juice up here to drink.
Saying I drink Dr. Pepper, and every once in a while I just need something different.
Yeah, so drink wine.
Or I don't want to.
Drink a beer without the cranberry juice.
Ew.
Have a cocktail.
Ash, I think you are highly overestimating my energy and motivation to make drinks. It's minimal.
Oh my God.
And sometimes I truly feel like I have like college aged boy living inside of me. I'm just fine with anything. I'll drink anything. I'll consume anything truly. And I'm like, yeah, that's fine. Probably. Yep. I don't know. Whatever.
You know, I'm that way with food, but like with alcoholic beverages, I think I'm like, ooh, if I'm going to treat myself, I want to enjoy it. Like, I'm not going to drink something I don't like if it's alcohol.
That's totally fair. I just can't relate.
I'm like too lazy. I'm like, this is fine.
Yeah.
This is deeply horrifying. I feel like I need to send both of you some wine because this is not.
I mean, I'll accept.
Not okay.
I'm not going to say no if it's here.
I'll do it.
But Karissa, didn't you once send me a Snapchat and you had attached a bunch of bendy straws together to drink wine directly out of the bottle with a straw?
Yes, in college, I was alone for a day and I had been given a bottle of wine for my birthday, but I did not have a wine opener or whatever that thing is called. So I had to drill through the top with a screwdriver. I just sat there for like an hour screwing through it. And then I thought it would just pour out, but it doesn't because there's a weird suction thing. So I had to make the hole wide enough to stick a straw in. And then I had to siphon it out by like you would do gas. I had to like suck on the straw and then dump it into a mug.
My God.
So funny.
That's the most effort I've ever put into alcohol.
That's so much more effort than just making yourself a cocktail.
It is, but it was also fun. And really, my sense of achievement at the end was better than the high of the alcohol.
Well, I'm sure you worked so hard for it. Do you know what's in a martini, you guys?
Alcohol.
Gin, vermouth, maybe an ice cube. Maybe,
I was right.
Maybe olive juice if you want it.
I'm gonna be real with you. I don't even know what a vermouth is. Like,
that's true.
I think it's more like a wine. There's sweet vermouth and dry vermouth, and I like to use dry vermouth in an olive martini, and sweet vermouth in like a martini with a twist, like the lemon.
Okay.
I like to drink whatever happens to be around when the mood strikes. So
obviously,
this makes me sound like an alcoholic. I am not. It's literally been months since I've touched anything.
Even an alcoholic would turn up their nose at your beer and cranberry combination.
Would they, or would it only be because beer is so low in alcohol concentration? Like I don't even drink that for breakfast. Too little. I don't know. How do alcoholics get through the day? Do they drink in the morning or do they wait until the end of the day? I don't know.
Depends on the alcoholic.
This is probably
Alcoholics
true.
Chime in. No shame.
No shame. We're truly here with real curiosity.
We're here for you. Yeah.
Would you drink beer and cranberry juice? You're going to get a resounding no, I feel like. I feel pretty confident you're going to get a resounding no.
I'm okay with that. I am confident.
I'm with you, Karissa. I would drink
Thank you. Thank you.
You know, like when you see like a little like a puppy or a kitten in the street that's like all like bedraggled and wet and you're like, God, I wish someone had taken care of you. I just want to take you home and give you like some milk and some food. I'm having that exact visceral emotional reaction to you in this moment.
I'm a diseased puppy on the side of the road.
Yes, that's exactly how I'm feeling about you right now. I'm like, I just need to take her home and give her some medicine and introduce her to something that's not beer and cranberry juice that's really easy to make.
Well, I wouldn't say no to that, but
it's okay. You're just going to wake up here one day. I'm going to kidnap you. I'd ask you to come see me, but I know you won't because you're a homebody. So one day you're just going to wake up here.
You'll plunge the lights and kidnap me.
I want to go visit you, Karissa. I want to go to Arizona.
I live in the Wild West capital-ish place. So
it's like my favorite state
alley.
that's not New Mexico or this one.
Yeah.
Interesting. It's my first favorite state, but I'm biased. So
you are. Wait, I want to come.
Right. Well, yeah, you're coming too.
Yeah, because what else? Who's gonna make you guys drink things that are not disgusting if I don't go
No
with
one.
you? You're just gonna sit there drinking beer and
we'll
cranberry
just sit there writing horrific deaths for our characters while drinking beer that has cranberry juice in it.
I'm not gonna lie, I've spent a lot of nights like that.
See, sounds pretty good to me.
Yes.
All right, you guys
think
you should come out here for a writing retreat.
Then I will. Then we'll get on. But yes, we should all go for a writing retreat out there. That'd be wonderful.
That'd be awesome.
And I can also play pseudo. I feel like there's part of me that was just meant to be like a rich like housewife in like the 60s. And I'm just like, want a cocktail, darling? Oh, and I just like make cocktails a lot and I look hot all the time. I don't have to do anything. I feel like there's a big part of me.
That's the life you're meant to have.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like it is sometimes. I mean, usually I'm like medieval adventurer, but sometimes I'm like, absolutely not.
It's good to have like a different plan for every era, I think,
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
But it's
who
like
would you be in every decade?
The inside of you are two wolves.
Yes, inside of you are two wolves.
Yeah.
Medieval adventure and 60s housewife with a secret.
Yeah. Ooh, and a secret is even better, but it has to be also rich because I need to be wearing a lot of jewelry and making expensive cocktails. Yeah.
Okay.
And that's what I contribute.
I love it. I love it.
I love that.
Yeah. Anyways, okay, so that is all I know about Gaston Leroux.
Hey, when did he die?
Lots of other things. Oh, you guys care about that?
I just had it. He died. I'll tell you. He died in Nice, France, 1927.
Nice.
He's not as old as I thought he was.
Hard. No.
He was 58.
That was the thing. Hey, if you have not pulled up a picture of this man, listeners, Spoons and Lewis, pull up a picture of this man right now.
Is he super ugly without a nose?
I like him.
No, he's not. No, he's actually, he's adorable. But here's the type of adorable he is. He looks, honest to God, like somebody went into one of those like Victorian photo booths and took a picture. He does not look like a real like guy out of history. Like, you know, some people like look kind of aged. He looks like he's like a college kid in costume. Like he looks like a college theater student in costume.
He stayed young.
Yeah.
His face, he looks like he knows what an iPhone is, you know.
That's exactly
that kind of face.
That is exactly correct. He seems like a really sweet guy. He seems like the poor kind of guy who actually does get friend zoned for all the wrong reasons and actually is the nice guy who doesn't get the girl, but he's too nice to complain about it. Like that.
Yeah, he's like chill about it.
Like, yeah.
He doesn't kidnap anyone or complain.
Yeah.
He just like he says, okay, fine, and goes on with his life.
Yeah, exactly. That's what this man looks like. Everyone needs to go look at a picture of Gaston Leroux.
Wow.
A king, a champion, an iPhone user, an
iPhone user.
If he was a time traveler, you know? I'm just saying.
Maybe he was.
Possible.
He foresaw it would be turned into a musical and said, I have to get this done now because I know what will become of it later.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, guess what, you guys? Phantom is closing on Broadway. It's like the longest running show on Broadway, but it's finally closing that after like 35 years. Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I don't know enough about Broadway to know how significant that is. How long does the average show last?
Oh, I mean, a couple years at most, usually.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's a huge deal.
Yeah.
Also, shout out to our other Katherine, who not our pot astrologist and not Lewis, but our other Katherine.
You have three Katherines.
Yes, I have three Katherines. I'm a hoe for Katherines, all right. But she sent me, let me see if I can find it. She sent me pictures. I believe she saw Phantom of the Opera on Broadway. I might have to RPP if I'm wrong about this, but I think she sent me pictures because she's like super into it. And I've never known anyone who got to see this on Broadway, and I'm very jealous. But let me see.
I might be going to New York this like before the end of the year, and I really want to go see it if I go. Not that I'm even like the biggest fan of it. I like it, but I'm not like a number one fan or anything. But I'm like, I have to go for it closes, you know?
Yeah. Makes sense. Ooh, 2 attachments. Open.
You said open 3 times.
Open.
But there are 2 attachments.
Not opening. Well, I know it's because I clicked it 3 times and it said absolutely not. Hang on, let me see. She tagged us in her story, so I know I'm not crazy. Well, we talked about BBC Sherlock a lot. there's a podcast we were talking about, which you guys, if you guys watch Psych, did you know that there's a Psych rewatch podcast with Maggie and Tim?
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing. I had no idea. She told me about
That's
it, and I've
the
immediately been
cutest
listening
thing
to
I've
it.
ever heard of.
I
love
know,
that.
it's precious.
I love that for the world.
I know.
Psych
just
is a
for the
gift.
greater world.
Yes.
It really is. If you guys have not watched Psych, please go do that. I sent her a funny meme about being short because she's short.
Ash, are you trying to prove that this person exists?
I'm trying to prove to myself that I'm not crazy and that she actually has a connection to Phantom of the Opera because I'm a crazy person.
Well, we can rapapa it.
Well, I'll have to rapapa it because I can't find it, but I'm pretty sure because she keeps tagging us in it. This is near and dear to her heart. I will say that. I do feel like pretty confident in saying that. It's near and dear to her heart. So sorry I made you guys wait for 3 minutes for that.
We're all good.
Yeah, I'm really on a time crunch here.
We've already kind of like cemented the fact that we're pulling a persuasion this time. Like it is 45 minutes. We haven't started
the summary. It's true. And I forgot to give skip notes. Sorry, guys. It's okay. Anyways.
Whatever. This is just how we live.
Yeah, I know. Well, guest episodes are always longer anyways, because we have like a whole extra third of conversation that we need to have. So if anyone is
You're
shocked,
welcome.
yeah, thank you, Liz. Exactly. So anyways, on to the summary, which is not my job. Thank goodness. Spoons, take it away.
Okay, I'm gonna do it, but also y'all feel free to jump in at any given time. Okay. So we're at the opera in Paris. And there is kind of this rumor that there is an opera ghost. And the opera ghost, people just keep being like, oh, I saw him. Like all the little ballerina girls are like, have all their stories about how they've seen the opera ghost, but you know, have they really, or are they just trying to have some clout? Clout. So everyone's kind of like, you know, talking about the opera ghost. Also, the opera is coming under new management. And the thing about the opera ghost is he has to have box 5 for himself. So like they never sell box 5 because it's for the ghost. And you know, I love a good theater ghost. I think that's such a fun idea.
I know. I like that he's dedicated to his art, you know?
He does it really well.
Yeah.
Here's another thing I love about this book generally, and also the opera ghost, is that they sometimes will call him OG. And he will find things OG.
Yeah.
It absolutely cracked me up. I could not believe it. I was like,
totally something Gaston would do. I mean, come on. It's totally in character.
For that iPhone user, absolutely.
Yeah.
OG was.
Oh God. Yeah, so he's the OG. The OG, you know, he's a little bit of a scary guy, but okay, so our main character is named Christine Daae, which is an incredible name. And she is a queen. She's an icon. She's a legend. She's the best at singing ever.
She is. She's a baby. So is the Lavenders, which I had no idea. I had no idea how young these characters were.
Yeah. So
how old is everyone supposed to be?
Well, Raoul is like 20 years old.
Yeah, I knew him, but like, is Christine his age?
I think Christine is around
a little younger.
Yeah,
or a little younger. That is
a little
crazy.
bit younger.
And I always envisioned the Phantom is like 40.
The OG
I think
like
he
40
is
or more. He is old.
Oh my
I mean,
gosh,
I wouldn't say like someone. He's old to be dating like an 18-year-old.
Yes,
not that they do date, but he wants to.
He thinks they are.
You know what's super creepy though? This bothers me. It happens a lot in particularly French literature. Is the creepy guys that want to get with the younger girl always call them child.
I know.
And they're like, come here, child. And I'm like, stop it. This is so weird.
Like a lot of this gave me Hunchback vibes.
Yes. It must be the French.
It is the French. What is going on over there, France?
I know.
Seriously, what is happening?
Why?
She does not want to date you. She does not want to date you.
Leave her alone.
Leave the girl alone.
Oh
so
my God.
Christine, so basically I'm just gonna get to it sort of.
Do it.
Raoul is this guy who Christine knew when she was a kid, and they used to hang out together as kids all the time. And Raoul is a viscount, which is actually a pretty high up title, I think. So he's like kind of a rich little guy. And Raul he shows back up at the opera and they haven't seen each other in a while, but he's like deeply in love with Christine and stuff.
Yeah, he's also a whiny little baby. I'm just saying.
Yes, he
I
is.
know.
Really
Well, are
is.
these her only two options? Creepy 40-year-old and whiny. Well, there's this point when Raul is like she made me run away, and if you just let me at him, I would have hit him. I'm like, Raul, you just finished crying. What?
That's all Raul
Raul?
does the whole book. He just cries the whole book.
He does pretty
honestly,
much cry the whole book.
I love it for him. I am gonna say it. I like Raul. I think it's funny how unabashedly lame he is. Like he's such
that's
a
also
loser.
very French. Lame. He's like, I'm just gonna be emotive all the time.
That's Italian too. That's also very
He's like, I am so upset about everything.
Yeah.
Right.
I love you so much. And then he bursts into tears.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm like, fair enough. A lot's going on, but you know, he's not very dashing. But
no.
So
I do like Raul in the movie so much better.
So Raul, he like it's like, Christine, OMG, hey Bessie, remember me? And she's kind of giving him like a cold shoulder, like not being super sweet about it or anything. And he's like, oh, okay, what the hell?
Actually, he's like, oh my God, why does she hate me? And then he cries about it.
He does
like
cry
a lot.
Then he ends up, but this is the one thing I don't like about Raul. He's a little entitled to her love. I think he feels he is, and it bothers me.
Both of these men are.
Yeah, he's like, what
so
the
are
hell?
Italian men. So are Italian men if you're not like that, but every Italian man I met is like that.
Like,
I don't know.
Why are you not in love with me?
Thing. Yeah,
I'm great.
Have you met me? Oh no,
but like that's not
hobby.
really like where Raul's coming from. I think he's literally just like, I know you previously, so we're in love, right?
They do have an actual connection, so he's not like acting out of nothing.
No, like he has more reason to feel this way than the Phantom, but it's still like, OG, okay, shut up. Then OG. So anyway, Raul's hanging around and he's crying, and Christine is talking to somebody in her dressing room, and he's like, what the heck? And she's like singing, and somebody else is singing back there, and he's like, what's going on? Anyway, blah blah blah. Raul ends up finding out that there's somebody named Eric who Christine is like talking to a lot. And so yes, wait, I'm trying to see where we go from
Christine
here.
also goes missing for 2 weeks.
I know there's so much that happens, but it's all mixed up timeline wise.
It's confusing. So, so like she goes,
just hit the big important things and it's fine. It's not going to be like this was very much in serial form and kind of disjointed. Like I always thought in the movie, like I'm just missing some details and some things and some timelines because I don't really understand operas. No, it's because that's how the story is written.
The story is weird.
It is. It's hard to
follow. So there's all this drama also with like new management, and they're kind of like not wanting to give into all the ghosts' demands and all of this, and everyone's like, no, you should, because we like always listen to the ghost. And everyone's like, what the hell? Like, it's a ghost. So then Raul spends a lot of time being sad about Christine and like being like, why don't you love me? And she's like, okay, literally shut up. I am in love with you, but I have to keep it on the DL. And he's like, oh my God, babe. And she's like, shut up. And so,
so accurate.
Raul like, he's like kind of hanging around her like a little puppy dog. And Raul is supposed to be leaving to go on like some kind of like ship.
Oh my God.
He's gonna join the Navy.
Like, some Antarctic adventure or some Arctic adventure. Yeah.
And so he's kind of like, well, like, can you hurry up? You're in love with me. And she's like, listen, how many times do I have to tell you to shut your damn mouth? I'm figuring it out.
Yeah.
And so they're kind of like, but then they kind of start hanging out more, and she, admits she is in love with him. But okay, here's the deal, babe. I've been visited by the Angel of Music. And he's like, oh my God, the Angel of Music, the little legend we used to talk about as kids all the time that your father told you about, how everybody who is gifted in music gets visited by the Angel of Music at some point in their life. And she's like, yes. And so I was gifted.
That guy.
I was visited by the Angel of Music, and he keeps visiting me, and his name is Eric, and he's the ghost. And he's like, okay, awesome, great. What? And so then Christine
into tears again.
Yeah, he's like, I will cry about this. Give me a second.
Do you love him? He asked her at one point, like, don't you hate him? And she's like, no, I just pity him. And he's like, why don't you hate him? If you loved me, you would hate him.
Yeah,
I know. Yes. Honestly, though, I am also like, he does suck, Christine. Like, he's not nice.
He does.
So the OG / Eric, he like basically kidnaps Christine. And
no, he does. He's straight
in the
and
middle
he,
of a
straight
performance.
roofies her also.
Yeah.
Yes, he does. But like even before that, he had kidnapped her. So it was like this whole thing.
Oh, that's right. There are
And
two
so-
times.
There's multiple kidnappings by
There's
the OG
a lot
of
going on.
Christine.
Yeah. So Christine is like, basically, I'm pretending like we're not a thing really, because if he knew about that, he would probably kill you and maybe me and everybody. And I was like, well, that sounds bad. And she's like, I know. See, why did he not listen to me in the first place?
Mhm.
So then, wait, sorry. I forgot. Oh yeah. So, but then they're like, okay, let's just pretend like we're engaged.
So
And
many
that-
layers. She's
and
like,
that will be
he'll never know I
fun.
love you. But also, if I tell him I'm just making you think I love you, maybe he'll let it slide.
Yeah.
And if I pretend like it's not real. So she's like pretending to love the Phantom by pretending to love Raoul, who she actually loves.
Yeah, it's like a lot of layers going on.
Yeah.
And Raoul is like dumb enough that he is kind of like, okay, so like, what are we doing again? Like, are we in love or what?
He
And
really does not get it.
he does not get
the
it.
program.
No.
Yeah.
He's a one-track mind.
He's like, wait, we're really engaged, right? And she like doesn't speak to him for 2 days. And he's like, I'll never say it again.
And then she's like wearing the Phantom's ring and stuff. And he's like, okay, now I'm just thinking about this. And are you engaged to the Phantom or what? Like, what's going on?
Our
And
boy
she's
is
like-
he's not like super smart. Like he's not,
No.
he doesn't have a lot going for him except for like he's not mean.
Except
He's
for
a nice
like
guy.
not being the Phantom. That's the thing he has going.
He's got a lot of devotion in him.
He is,
you know,
he's devoted.
he's
He's
rich.
nice.
He's rich, he's
He has
handsome.
a title.
He's got a
Mhm.
title. He's not an absolute dick of a person. He's not like the
No.
best. But I mean, compared to OG,
Yeah.
I mean, he could do worse than Raoul.
He's handsome.
would.
He's got
Yeah.
that.
yeah. Especially in like 1910 or whenever this came out, you can probably do worse than Raoul.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, respects her to some extent.
Yeah.
So there's, so anyway, that's all going on. And then Raoul's like been like freaking out though, because he's like, well, now I know what's going on, and I hate Eric, and I'm gonna kill him. And everyone's like, okay, you literally cannot do anything, you're useless. And he's like, I'm gonna kill him. And so he's lying in his bed one time, and he's like thinking about how I'm gonna kill Eric. And then he like looks up, and there's like these yellow eyes staring at him from like across the room, and he's like, ah! And he grabs his little gun and tries to shoot the eyes. And he's
Ends up
like
shooting the cat.
convinced. So but it's like, did he? Who knows? Because then everyone comes in, and his brother, the Count, is like, what the hell are you doing? And he's like, okay, here's the deal, I'm shooting the opera ghost, and I have to shoot him or else he'll marry Christine. And everyone's like, so he's gone insane. Great, jot that down. And so he's freaking out, and then everybody finds out that Raoul and Christine are fake engaged, but maybe really engaged, because it gets like in the paper. And so Christine's like, well, that's bad, because now the Phantom's gonna be mad
he's
at us.
gonna know.
So then during a performance, Christine, who has been getting all the lead roles because Eric has been like giving her voice lessons basically,
and also been threatening
and sabotaging the other actors,
which is very funny actually.
Kind of is. He's like, no, my girlfriend is going to be the lead, whether she knows she's my girlfriend or not. So
doesn't actually have to consent. I'm just gonna make it happen.
So Christine just disappears in the middle of the play or the opera, and everyone's like, oh no, what's going on? And everyone's like, ooh, the production values are really good this year. And then somebody has to come out on the stage and be like, that was extremely real, and we do not know
kidnapping.
where she is.
Christine is.
This was a kidnapping. Okay, good night. And so everyone's like, oh my god. So Raoul's freaking out looking for the Phantom. There's this whole thing where the Phantom wanted like 40,000 francs or something. I don't know. That part was so annoying to me. I was like, shut up, who cares?
That was so obviously in serial form. Like that was like a throwaway part of the
They were like,
sure.
There were like 2 whole chapters about it. And then also I was listening to the audiobook on YouTube because it's public domain, baby. And they accidentally repeated those 2 chapters like 4 times. And so I was listening, and then I was like, I've heard this before. And it was so confusing. And then I had to like skip ahead like an hour to finally get to the next. So that further exacerbated what is that a word? Yes.
Yeah,
My
exacerbated,
frustration.
Yeah.
Anyway, so who cares about the money stuff? But so then Raoul is looking for Christine. Oh, I also have to say this. The version I listened to, everybody was like voiced by a different person. Like it was, there was like a narrator, but then everybody was like had a character voice. And it was, I love it when they do that. But whoever was voicing Raoul, I just have to say, completely made the book for me. He was so annoying and whiny, but like in kind of a way where you're like, oh, little honey bear, like what are you doing? It was hilarious.
Gosh, I mean that is the character, so
that's his whole appeal, I guess, if that appeals to you.
Like the actor totally got it. It's like, this is
he's like, I 100% understand the purpose of this role, let me add it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh,
he was like, where is my Oscar for this audiobook reading? And whoever was reading Eric also was so funny because he was like really leading into like, I'm an evil guy who lives in an opera house. I loved it.
Is there any other way to play the Phantom of the Opera?
No, you have to do it. You're like, I am going to kill you, Christine.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
My name is Eric and I live in Paris. It was crazy.
In Paris.
In Paris.
Sound Transylvanian.
Because it's her evil guy voice. She always does it for her evil guy voice.
Oh my gosh. Like Eric is also secretly Dracula. Yeah.
Dracula is also here. He is friends with the Phantom.
What a mashup that would be. I need that movie. You know how there's that awful was the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen? I need like the League of Extraordinary Villains, and I need the Phantom, and I need Dracula.
I want that so bad.
Oh, Hollywood.
Oh,
Hollywood, attention, listen up. We're requesting this, and I think a lot of people would enjoy it. So we've already given you like half the plot, I feel like. So
well, this book actually reminded me a little bit of the Francis Ford Coppola movie Dracula, which is kind of different from the book because it made like Mina be in love with Dracula and all of that. Yeah. Where it's like a weird thing where he's like the worst guy you've ever seen, but something about him is charismatic, I guess.
Like mesmerizing.
Like, okay, maybe I like him better than my boring boyfriend. That's kind of like the vibe.
Yeah.
Anyway, whatever. But so then Raoul's looking for Christine. There's all the money stuff. And then our king, known as the Persian.
Yeah, which by the way, it's unfair as a name because it's really similar to Parisian. So I was reading it wrong for a while. I was like, wait, who is this?
They're all Parisian.
Yeah, I know. Like, why is this a distinguishing quality? But it is Persian, which is later explained. So
the Persian.
Yeah.
So he's this cool guy who, he hangs out. I'm like, okay, what's his name?
What's his actual name? Though?
He's like a really important character, and we're just like, he doesn't need a name.
Like Persians don't have names.
Like, no, it's fine. He's from
he even named the people from the Persians' backstory.
Yeah,
not the Persian.
Not the Persian. He was like, no, it's whatever.
I think this was a bit of a literary device. I feel like they occasionally used in classics where they would be like the and then like title of a person, like the count, the Persian, the seamstress, the whatever, and that's they only refer to them like that.
Right. Yeah. That's true.
A little.
I'm gonna hope for that.
He was like my favorite character though, so I was a little frustrated.
He's great.
Like,
he's the only normal one. He's like, hi, I have a reasonable will to live.
For reasonable will to live. You can't say anything about that, Mr. Mrs. Beer and Cranberry Drinker. I don't feel like that's indicative of a will to live. What is life worth it if that's what you're drinking?
Yes.
Okay, the Italian's popping out.
So I could introduce you to a nice Pinot Grigio or a Pinot Noir, perhaps, if you're feeling for a red. Just let me know.
Not give me a red, nasty. So,
but no rosé. That is French swill, is what the Italians would call it. Actually, I like it. I was gonna say I like rosé.
I love rosé.
Yeah, I mean rosé, it's fine. I don't really have a strong opinion about it, but a lot of French wine I really, really like, which is very anti-Italian. Like, it's almost like an attack on the entire country of me that I like French wine. You don't say that in Italy.
Yeah, just assert your loyalties now. Are you like more?
I have none.
She's a rebel.
Yeah. She's like, bye Italy.
So hi French, can I have some?
So yes. the Persian is, I almost called him the Parisian. The Persian is like, hey bud, I can't help but notice you're freaking the F out. I don't think that's really how it happens, but it's what I like to imagine happened. So
it's just kind of a peer. Like,
yeah,
hey,
he kind of just shows up. So Raoul and the Persian end up like teaming up, and Raoul's like, oh, my girlfriend's got kidnapped, and
my girlfriend,
my girlfriend, yeah. Can my girlfriend come? So
God.
That's my wife. So the
little John Mulaney for everyone.
Kill my wife.
No, she's like, oh wait.
Like, I would if she refuses to become my wife.
I probably won't kill my wife. Maybe
it's not the plan currently. But
oh God. Ideally, no.
Ideally,
in an ideal world.
So the Persian is like, okay, well, don't worry, fam, I got you. I know my way around these weird cellars underneath the opera house. It's apparently like a complete maze down there. There's like
a
so
whole
many levels. It's like amazing. A city. Yeah. It is crazy. Yeah. So Raoul's like, okay, great, because I've been here one time and I do not know what I'm doing. So the Persian and Raoul like go through the secret mirror entrance, and then they're like walking around down there, and they like find like 3 dead bodies, and they're like, okay, awesome.
Okay, wait. You know what I found so funny is that the Persian tells him to like pretend like he's holding a gun, like put his and then later on he's like, I only said that because I didn't have time to explain to you the real reason that you need to be doing this. They're literally walking around
your eyes or whatever the line is from
their hands up, but they're not holding guns. They just have their hands up like this, and Raoul is like, this is the stupidest thing ever. Why can't I hold the gun? And the Persian is like, I don't have time to explain to him that it's because this guy strangles people. I'm like, you could just tell him he strangles people.
He's like, this boy's too simple. I just have to give him a task.
Like very simple directions, no explanations, very simple tasks. Only way
he does them. Yeah, he's like, this makes no sense, but okay.
Awesome. Yes. Well, I'll do whatever you say, sir. So they're walking around. Yeah, because the good point. The Phantom loves to strangle people.
The Phantom loves to strangle people.
There's where he literally says, like, there's a line that's like, if the Phantom was the king of strangling, which he was, then he was the prince of trapdoors. And I'm like, what the hell? What kind of a resume is this?
It's a villain resume. You think you're good? I am the king of strangling and the prince of trapdoors.
Yeah, you can't even afford my villainy.
Oh, like, God, I wish I could say the same, like maybe not the strangling, but
I know I want to be like the queen of something, or at least the princess of something.
Yeah, something cool.
Yeah, something awesome.
Yeah, so that's crazy. So they're trying not to get murdered while they're walking around. And then there's like this weird part where people have been saying like, oh, the ghost has a head of fire, and then they're like, oh, I guess it's just the rat catcher guy. He like sets his head on fire. Like, I don't know what's going on. I'm gonna be real with you. I was like, what is happening here? Like, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I don't know either. I thought it was a mask, but
I don't remember that.
Yeah, because they were like, they're like running or sprinting away from this guy, and then you show they're like, oh, it's just Kevin, the rat catcher.
The rats are like all around them, and they're like freaking out.
You're like, oh my God. And he's like, hello, lovely day in the cellars of Paris, is it not?
You know what is also really funny is that really early on in the book, when he's kind of saying like, these are all the sightings of the Phantom, they like have this one description that he's like death, and then someone else sees the fiery head, and there's a line, I wrote it down, it said, the young lady soon persuaded themselves that the ghost had several heads, which he changed about as he pleased.
Oh,
like, so he's just like swapping out heads like the headless horseman, and they just buy that.
They were like, well, in order to make all of our stories correct, maybe he can just shapeshift.
That's what I love about urban legends. I'm like, we can make it all fit. We can definitely make it all fit. Everybody bring your sightings in.
Yeah, like,
everyone welcome.
What do you think? What would be coolest? Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, we'll make it work.
Great.
I like it.
Yeah, so that whole fiasco, and then finally, they get down to like this underground like lake situation, and they're like, okay, this is where Eric lives, because Persian knows because he was there one time and he almost got murdered. And so they're like, okay, we're doing it, but we can't get through this way or whatever. So they end up going through like a weird tunnel, and then they end up dropping down into Eric's house. And
on like in the middle of like a lake under the opera.
Yeah.
Which is
like
crazy.
5 stories
Like,
down.
So many layers.
How is this happening? What is going
What
on
are the
in Paris?
logistics?
Like, can Victor Hugo please explain the sewer system to me again? Like, I need to know what's going on.
One more time, Victor. One more time. And he's like, I have been waiting my entire existence for this conversation.
Victor Hugo's like, here's all this extra information you never asked for. And Gaston Leroux or whatever is just like, here's like a vague description of kind of what's going on. You fill in the blanks.
Yeah, exactly.
Really, I was like, I need more information, actually. Like, for the first time in my life, I am begging for more detail from the French author
about
please.
the
Give us more Parisian architecture,
What
please.
is going on?
Oh my God. Victor Hugo is like, oh, I want to be alive so bad right now.
Yeah, I could fix this.
Oh God.
So yeah, so they dropped out into the Phantom's house, and they're and the person is like, oh great, we're in the torture chamber. And then
Which he just
like,
has.
what? And he's like, yeah, oh man. Well, there was this weird time we were in India together. And anyway, it's too much for now, but there's a torture chamber. And Raoul's like, okay, awesome, great. And so then he's like, Christine, are you here? And she's like, oh hey. She's like in the next room over, and she's like, so I've been held against my will this whole time. And Raoul's like, I just gotta cry about it really quick. Don't bother. So they're like all freaking out. And then she's like, so he is gonna come back and all this. Also, I did try to kill myself and everything's fine.
And I'm tied
up now. Yes, it's because I tried to kill myself. Yeah.
Yes. I was like, okay, we're just throwing that in there. Okay, great.
Yeah, okay, like obviously I do not approve, but can we just, Christine is like a straight badass. Like, does she cry at all about any of this horrible stuff that's been going on? No, Raoul's over here crying and like, why doesn't Christine like me? And she's like, I'm just like fighting for my life over here and still trying to somehow be a caring person, and it's not going well. And she's still like so badass.
Yeah, Christine was kind of dealing with a lot, and she was like, you'll never know, I'm keeping it all bottled up.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, no, she's like the best poker face. Absolutely.
Seriously, I felt so bad for her though, because I was like, oh my God, that's a horrible thing to just like be like, when one paragraph, yep, she does have suicidal thoughts. I'm like, oh my God,
it was
not
awful.
only thoughts but like actions.
This is the one time I was like, the opera ghost tied her up, and I was like, maybe I approve of this one thing you've done in the whole book. I'm like, we do want Christine to be safe, but you are also the cause of this.
Yeah, I was like,
he's also
maybe
just like,
let her go if you
that would help.
About her killing
exactly
herself.
And he's just like, I'm just tying you up until 11 o'clock when you decide whether or not to marry me, and if you say no, then you can die. But if you say
and
yes,
I'm gonna kill everybody in the entire opera house, and it's gonna be really packed at that point, so just deal with that. I hope you enjoy that thought in the afterlife.
These are two equally valid possibilities for you to choose.
He is bonkers. He's bonkers. So
yeah, he's like, it could really go either way. So
yeah,
you make your decision.
Anyway, love you, babe. I'll be back. I got some ghosting stuff to do. I'll be back. So yeah, but he ends up coming back, and he's like, oh, somebody is in my torture chamber. And she's like, oh, there's somebody in there. And Raoul's like actively sobbing, and he's like, I literally can hear him. And he's like, okay, great. So then the Phantom is like, he like does this weird thing where he like turns up the heat all the way in the torture chamber, and then they're just like delirious and like fighting for their lives in there, like trying to find the trap door while they like melt to death.
Yeah, and the Persian is so calm. He's like, I'm just gonna logically work our way out of here. And Raul's like, life is misery and everything. Water.
Contribute shit. He is the most useless character.
He's so useless.
Nothing.
The thing he literally just goes and lays in the middle of the floor while the Persian is looking for the trap door.
He's like, oh, Christine, at least I'll die before you. I'm like, you could try a little harder.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, maybe like the person didn't even ask for his help though. He was like, he's gonna be useless. Just lay there.
I'll let me do it myself.
I'll just do it. Could you? I'll just do it myself.
You know what? Never mind. It's fine. Just
you just take care of you. You just go ahead and cry it out, man. You do what you know.
It's like really hard to be a Viscount. So don't even worry.
Yeah, I know you have a lot on your plate right now, so you just you do what you gotta do.
And then there's a point when like they see a mirage, and the Persian is like, that is definitely a mirage. And Raul's like, shut up, you don't know anything. That's clearly water. And then they go, and the Persian is like, it maybe, and then it's like not water.
Yeah.
I know. I was
Yeah,
like,
also,
oh my God.
This is a really high-tech torture chamber. Can we just
It is.
This
It's
also
impressive.
supports the idea that Gaston was a time traveler.
Okay,
The whole mirror
so
thing
true.
felt really futuristic. The torture chamber felt very
Yeah.
realistic.
I was like, what is this torture chamber? Like, I was expecting like the Iron Maiden or something.
Yeah,
and-
exactly. No.
And then it was like, no,
It almost
it's a
felt like
delusion.
sci-fi torture chamber.
Yeah, I was like,
Mhm.
how is this even possible?
Illusions and mirrors, and then like a
Yeah,
trap
yeah.
door, and
And
Yeah,
Gaston spent
exactly.
a lot of time on this damn thing. I
Yeah.
was like, okay, I get
Really
it. They're
did.
boiling
Yeah.
to death. Like, okay.
True.
And so
Yeah.
the Persian finally finds a trapdoor. They drop down in there and they're like, bro's like, well, that was crazy. And the Persian's like, yes, that was crazy. And so then they're like, oh my God, these must be filled with wine or water. There's all these barrels down there.
Mhm.
They open them up and Bro was like, what? Gunpowder? That's oh no. And so then they're like, oh my God, he's gonna blow up the place. And then they're also like, well, I guess at this point we have no idea what time it is. It could literally be 11 o'clock right now. They get
Yeah.
back up there and Christine's like, it is. So we have to decide what to do now. I
Yep.
do not want to marry the Phantom, blah blah blah.
Nope.
And there's this weird thing where the Phantom, he's just going off the rails because he's no longer like, okay, how about you just marry me or I'll kill everyone. Now he's like, ooh, turn around this grasshopper, and that will mean that you do not want to marry me, but maybe I will still kill everyone. Or there's a scorpion. Ooh. And Christine's like, I'm confused about the rules. And he's like, oh, turn around the grasshopper if you want to die, but I might kill you anyway. And
Also,
she's
like, excuse me, Mr. OG, sir. I don't understand the rules either.
I was so confused.
What's
I was
going
like,
on?
what are we doing now? And I felt like Raoul and the Persian from the other room were also like, okay,
What are
wait.
the
So
rules?
tell me again what he said. So, okay,
Wait,
no,
there's
back
a
up.
scorpion and a grasshopper.
Okay.
Which one
Scorpion
does
means you
which?
will marry him. Grasshopper means you won't, but he might
Yeah.
trick you. And if you pick the scorpion, that's actually what will kill everyone.
Yes,
And Christine's
I was
like, so
like-
what do I do?
Yeah, I was like, why are we making this so confusing, like Mr. OG? Why you've lost sight of the vision? You know, you've gone a
And
little
then
off the rails.
He does come back at one point and she's like, okay, so if I pick the scorpion, like people will live. And he's like, pick the grasshopper if you want everyone to die. And it's like, can you just confirm the question? It's like, so the scorpion means everyone lives and I marry you. And he's like, I just pick Christine.
I know. I'm like, okay,
This
do you
is
want
why
to
I'm
marry her or
saying
not?
I
Like,
want to
what's going
see.
on?
I want to see the Phantom kidnap you, Karissa, because I want to see him say some weird batshit crazy riddle, and you're like, no, but I need to explain to me.
Yeah.
X, Y,
Can you
Z."
just
And
be a
he's
little
like,
clearer?
Well, something riddle like, and you're like, no, that doesn't work for me. I'm gonna need you to be a little more clear on that.
See, because the structure of your sentence makes it sound like you're saying this, but really I think you mean this. So can you just
Yeah.
like explain it a little more?
I feel like
no. Wait a sec. That's not what I said. I meant this.
Yeah,
And you guys are
exactly.
just gonna go back and forth. Yeah, that'd be great.
you reappear from the trapdoor. He's like, I'm gonna try this again with someone else.
Where is a different person that I can kidnap and love?
Like, okay,
That's
never mind. This
hysterical.
isn't fun anymore.
This isn't fun
No.
anymore. She's too many questions. Her and her stupid logic.
That's how you get away from
Yeah.
a kidnapper. You just annoy them until they let you go.
Foolproof.
You know
Yeah.
what? It's not a horrible
They
idea.
definitely won't kill you. That is the best plan.
I mean, they do say if you're being kidnapped, peeing on yourself is not a bad idea because people are like, ew, gross. And it's
Yep.
like, have you not heard that?
Whoa.
I
Yeah,
have.
because people-
I have.
Yeah,
I've not
if-
heard
if-
of that.
Yeah, people don't want to get peed on, even if they're kidnapping you, which I'm like,
I-
I guess, sure.
It does make sense. I
That
also
does make
heard a
sense.
story about this kid who got kidnapped and he sang Amazing Grace and then the kidnappers let him go. But I don't think that would work for Christine because she sings in the Phantom.
It's like, oh
Use
my
that as the
God.
reason to
You're a
kidnap
little
her.
pitchy, babe.
Yeah.
Like, we need to work on it.
You have to
we
stay
can work it
here
out.
all-
Let me just
all day.
play my organ. We'll do some scales.
dun, 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 dun. She's like, okay, we keep going back to this one. That's not
Yeah.
how Amazing Grace
What about
goes.
the
we just
variety?
sing something different, maybe?
Yeah.
Ever heard
my
of Cotton
gosh.
Eye Joe? Oh God.
Raoul's like, I love that one. So so then
God.
everything gets weird again. I don't even remember what happens, but the Persian ends up, he like wakes up. He's like
Yeah.
out of there. Oh, like he starts flooding the place. That's what happened. The
Mhm.
Phantom was
Yeah.
flooding
She
everything.
picks the scorpion and it
Yeah, she
floods
picks
the
the scorpion.
gunpowder.
Yes. And so
which felt like another, like, this feels really futuristic. Like, did they have mechanisms where you could just turn around like a scorpion, like a metal scorpion? And
it
was all very high tech.
Yeah. I think, Gaston, I have questions for you. Like, did you see that on YouTube somewhere on your iPhone when you were living currently in like the year 2030? And then
we can probably go visit him now. He lives.
I was gonna say he's just around.
Yeah. Gaston, I'm calling you out. DM us your location. We need to meet up. We need to have a chat.
We'll keep it a secret. We promise.
Yeah, we won't tell anyone. So he wakes up and he's like, oh my God, that was crazy. Oh my God, where's Raul? And they're like, so Raul is kidnapped. And he's like, oh my God. And basically Christine and Raul are still kidnapped.
And his brother's dead.
And Raul's brother's dead.
Yeah, that's something else.
That's another murder.
It's not even a major plot point. It's just like also he died. And everyone's like, oh, where's Christine?
Okay, great. So she's been gone for a while. Yeah. So, but then the Phantom, or Eric, he ends up, like, the same guy, you know, OG. Yeah. He ends up coming back and being like, oh my God, Bestie Persian, you'll never guess what happened. Christine literally kissed me on my forehead, not on my lips, but on my forehead.
Yeah.
And that was crazy.
The greatest moment of my life, and it's changed me.
Yeah. So anyway, I let them go. And the person's like, oh, okay. And he's like, yeah, so, but she has to come back and put this ring on my finger when I die, which will be soon because I am dying. And the person's like, okay. And he's like, okay, bye. And then that's the end. And I was like, what the hell?
And then in the future, the Persian, I think, is talking about how he went back and they uncovered the skeleton or whatever, and the only reason he recognized it, that it was OG or Eric or whatever, is because he had the ring on his finger.
Yeah. Which also gave me Hunchback vibes, because at the very end they're like, we went back and his skeleton was there.
Yeah, exactly.
And so it's like, okay, but then the thing I hated was, I feel like old books do this a lot. They'll be like, it's the most abrupt ending you've ever read, but in the epilogue we will tell you all of these important plot points we didn't get to before. And I'm like, why could you not have sprinkled in his backstory throughout the novel or something?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
So at the end we find out, like, you know, he has a
Eric had a pretty
whatever
past,
and I'm like, okay, sure, but that doesn't really excuse him.
No, I know, right?
No, does that give you an excuse to turn like the lower 5 stories under the ground of an opera house into like a weird maze torture chamber area and to kidnap a pretty singer? No.
And murder like 5 people? No.
Yeah. No, it does not. And also he was like, before that, kind of like making his fame by being really good at strangling people. Right? Which is like, bro, what?
Like, he was like, Christine, I want Christine to love me for me. And I'm like, well, maybe if you had a good personality, she would. Okay. Like, I don't think this is all about you being ugly. Okay. People
exactly.
Forgive a lot.
This is very true. And he even says something like, someone, like, people can get used to anything and with time. And I'm thinking, yeah, you are correct, which is why looks aren't everything and have never been everything. But the whole theme of the book up until just the whole theme of this book seems to be, don't trust ugly people. And I'm like, no, that's not right at all.
Well, I think it sort of was that, but then it also seems to be that Gaston was going also for sort of a hunchback thing where it's like, you know what, that he is this way because everyone is mean to him because he was ugly. So maybe don't be mean to ugly people. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, I mean, that's a good message.
But I feel like we could go a step farther, you know, and be like, it's what's on the inside that actually makes you an attractive person.
Yeah.
And that was a little too advanced for 1910. I don't know.
Yeah.
1910. No, we should have known this by now.
We should have known.
That's what's recent.
In both of these, also Hunchback in this one, it's like, okay, why does the ugly guy have to end up being sort of evil and dying at the end? Why can't he have something good happen to him?
Yeah, why does he have to be?
Well, I mean, she kissed him on the forehead.
Yeah. Why can't he learn that it's what's on the inside that counts? So maybe I'll try and be a better person worthy of Christine, which is still not, you know, a correct, I feel like, reason to become a good person, but it's still so much better than the way he was before.
Yeah. I was like, okay, I truly feel like if you had just been more chill, people would have been cool with you hanging around. Like, he could have been normal. I think he has a lot of talents.
He's very talented. Yeah,
he's extremely talented. you know, he has a big heart, sort of. He's corrupted it, but I think he could have the capacity to be like morally loving or whatever if he tried.
It's true.
But he's like, no, actually I am going to let everything that people did to me make me evil. And I'm like, okay, well, that's not energy. Good. Don't do it.
It's not great. It's not a great take.
It's not a great take. That's the Le Fantôme de l'Opera. By Gaston Leroux, the 21st century man.
I just love the French humor. It's just these subtle, funny, deprecating lines that are just really great.
It says something like there's like some line about like French people always look like they're happy and like everything's about like the pleasures of life. But then if something like really good happens to them, then and you compliment them on it, they'll be like, yeah, of course it happened. Like, what are you? They'll almost be like offended that you complimented. They're like, of course my life is spectacular. Who are you to say it, to imply that it wasn't just as spectacular now as it was 5 seconds ago? Right. And it's like, I don't understand this at all. But so see, what were our favorite and least favorite parts of this book?
Am I going first because I'm the guest?
Go first.
Go for it, Louis.
Okay, so you guys are probably going to disagree with me on this for my favorite part, because I actually thought the money part was really great.
What?
So my favorite part is when Christine has disappeared and everyone's like, oh my gosh, we have to get the owners of the opera house. And they go upstairs and they're like, Christine has been kidnapped. And the guy comes out and he says, I need a safety pin. And they're like, what? He's like, I need a safety pin right now. And so then this little boy just comes up and gives him one. He's like, great, thanks. And he slams the door in their faces.
I did think
that
was strange.
You don't get context until like a couple chapters later.
Yeah.
And I cracked up at that. I love that part. It's so funny.
Sort of funny.
Oh my goodness.
I think I was just more like, okay, we have bigger stuff to I don't know. Yeah. But it was funny. I do remember thinking.
I do wonder sometimes too how much of reading this book is colored by the fact that you kind of know what's going to happen at the end because of the musical and the movie. Because like I really wasn't afraid for Christine at any real point. Not because the book was badly written, but because I know she doesn't die, right? So maybe I was just like okay with that because I wasn't too worried about her and it was funny.
You're like, it's okay, this is not my first priority anymore. I know she's gonna be fine. I think my favorite part of this book is the same as my favorite part of the movie, which is like when Christine is on like the weird little island in the lake in his Eric's weird house. I just think it's really interesting to like think like this man has been living this way for decades. I'm sorry, what? I just think it's so it's like I love to see people's houses. I'm like, what kind of person are you? Like the way the inside of their house looks really
do
tells
you have a torture chamber or do you have a living room?
Yes, that tells you a lot about a person. So I enjoyed that immensely. Plus the whole like dynamic between like Christine and Eric while she's, like trying to like see the good in him, I think, which I almost think we get more of in the movie, but I think we also lose some stuff in translation, and like seeing how conflicted Eric is just so interesting. It has like a lot of the same energy as I've been watching I was telling Karissa yesterday, which is very creepy, but it is interesting to see like from this guy's perspective how he's like, everything I do is for this girl, and so he can justify these horrible things because he thinks it's for love, but like seeing like his feelings about himself and his life in relation to like the person he thinks he loves. We get like that same type of like those moments with Eric and Christine on Eric's weird little house on the island on the lake underneath the opera house. Also just what a great setting that I can say that.
It's so iconic.
So yes,
it is also really funny when he goes into like a little detail about like how much water was under the opera house at one point, and he's like, they pumped out all this water, it was as big as the Notre Dame, and there was still enough left for a lake at the bottom.
That's crazy.
That was funny too.
It's crazy. Yeah. What about you, Spoon's favorite part?
I think my favorite part was like at the like Raoul and the Persian when they're like first going into the like underground labyrinth. I was like, oh yeah, now we're getting some plot. I was like all excited. I was like, yeah, this is fun. Plus the setting is creepy and fun.
It is creepy. What about least favorite parts?
I'm gonna be real. The ending was losing me. I was like, what is going on? Like you're losing me, Gaston. I felt like we could have stuck the landing a little better there.
Yeah.
I kind of was like, do I care anymore? I don't know.
Yeah.
I also wish that something more dramatic had happened. Like, I don't know. I guess it might have messed with the. I don't even know if it would have.
Yeah.
I guess it would have messed with the themes, but I'm like, what if he had killed them? He could have murdered them, you know?
Yeah.
Or what if
he
had
killed
gotten
Raoul?
murdered?
Or what if he killed the Persian even? Like, what if there was some kind of loss at the end?
Somebody could have died. I mean, I know a lot of people already died, but like, who cares?
Someone more important.
Someone more important. Or like something. I don't know. I just felt at the end like, okay. And then like after, like it was literally just Eric showing up and being like, here's what happened. And I'm like, or maybe like Gaston, you could have showed me like what happened. I don't know.
Or maybe he accidentally almost kills Christine, and then in saving Christine, he dies.
Yeah. Like something like
or like
that.
Realizes, hey, maybe I shouldn't kidnap people to make them love me.
Yeah, exactly. So you can have a moment of clarity there.
Yeah.
I do kind of think he still thought he was right, you know? He's
like, I'm doing the right thing by letting her live her life happily, but that's because I'm the hero. And it's like, you are not the hero. You're the OG. Like, you're a ghost.
You are the OG and you are the worst guy I've ever met. Like truly a bad.
He's not good. He's like, it's just because I'm ugly. And it's like, no, it's not.
It's your personality, dude.
It's your personality,
honey.
Yeah. It's the whole rigging trapdoors and kidnapping people thing. That's probably it.
Yeah, and being like a king of strangulation.
Yeah, the king of strangulation, not just the prince, the king.
Yeah.
The king.
Oh my god, I forgot I had a story I wanted to tell about this really quick. One of my first online interactions with somebody who I didn't know, like stranger really online creepy. Interactions.
Yeah.
Well, you know.
People, I'm alarmed for you.
It's not alarming. It was on fanpop.com. This was probably 2007 or 8.
Yeah.
And I don't know how, but I started talking to this one person who was obsessed with Phantom of the Opera. And the only interactions we had were her telling me the entire plot in like one paragraph summaries over the course of like 4 weeks. And I would be like, oh, that's crazy. What happens next? Not knowing how conversations on the internet worked at all. And she'd be like, well, then Raoul. And I'd be like, oh, wow, that's crazy. And that's how I learned what happens in Phantom of the Opera.
Wow.
It was really, really weird. Like when I think back on it, I'm like, is this something I dreamt or did that really happen? But no, that did definitely really happen
all the time. That is hysterical.
Wow.
Also, another thing I wanted to say is I do not understand the Phantom girlies. Like there are so many of them.
There's a lot of them.
Like it's apparent this is the primary thing people like about Phantom of the Opera, it seems like, is that they're in love with the Phantom. And I'm like, what is happening? What is happening?
Well, he's like the quote morally gray kind of guy. And he's not morally gray really, but they're like, well, I'm like, he's evil, but also he's ugly. So is it his fault he's evil? And it's like, well, yeah, but then people like give him leeway for that.
Backstory. And I'm like, he does have a sad backstory.
And however, he would kill for her.
Yeah, I just
is apparently a thing people like.
Understand it at all.
Yeah.
See, I can, as someone who likes the morally gray, I can kind of see why people like him. I don't understand actually like being a Phantom girly. I don't understand that at all.
He also does have a beautiful singing voice.
Yes, I think it's true. There's a couple things. I think he's got a beautiful singing voice. He sees how talented she is, and he's like, supporting her in her endeavors or whatever. So that's
he wants to take credit though. He's like, you're only the way that you are because I
made you that
way.
Exactly.
And also, Raoul wouldn't be in love with you if you weren't a good singer, which is because of me. And I'm like,
but regardless, he shows an interest in what she's interested in. That's what every girl wants.
True. It's true.
I guess
that. And then I think it's that he wants her type thing. And everybody wants to feel wanted. And there's this line. It's also why people crush on Joe Goldberg from You. It's like the line between wants you and is obsessed with you is a very thin line. I think it's easy to get mixed up. And so I think a lot of the girlies who are prone to like the Phantom and Joe, I think that their line of wanting versus obsession might be a little blurred. It is for a lot of people. But it can feel, especially when you're on the other side of it, it can feel very similar as the person who's the one wanted or the one who someone's obsessed with. So I think it just feels like a really intense wanting. So I get that. However, I don't get actually liking the Phantom because the idea of like somebody wanting you is like with the morally great characters, hopefully that culminates in they they learn so much about you, that they know you so well, that they know what you really want and care about, and they're willing to sacrifice themselves for you in the end. And that's where we get the morally gray, instead of just being a bad boy which is just a dick. And so we never get that with the Phantom. So I see why it's like we had half of the equation for a really charming, morally gray character that I would have been totally in love with. But the other half of him actually doing decent things just doesn't ever happen. He doesn't even do the right things for the wrong reasons. That's the thing. A morally gray character we can has to at least do the wrong things for the right reasons occasionally.
Yes.
He does not do that.
At the end, it's like he lets her go. And so I think some people might think it's like, oh, he loved her enough to let her go. But he did kidnap her originally. So
it's like, what?
And it's only because he got something from her. But I think also she kissed him on the forehead, and I kind of think he was like, well, I have no idea what to do from here anyways. Like, this was all I wanted.
This is it. This was the dream.
He's like, well, my plan was successful, so I'm fine with whatever happens now. I feel
go
like
on with your life.
I feel like that was what happened. But what about least favorite parts?
Well, Kendall said the end.
Mine was the money part. I didn't care about it.
Is it? Okay.
The safety pin part was very funny.
I love the safety pin part.
I was like, now we care about a safety pin. All right.
And I only cared about the money part in that context because we found out what the safety pin was for. I was into that. I don't know. You would think I would be able to come up with a least favorite part. What is yours, Ash?
That was it. The money part.
Oh, that's right.
Well, because we were getting, I think also it's not even like the money part in itself, but especially like the placement of it. Like we were like on track,
it's kind of a tangent,
heading towards the climax, and all of a sudden we care about this money thing. And I was like, I don't care about that, Gaston. Please, back to what we do care about.
I guess if I had to pick one, I would say just like when they're in that torture chamber, only because it made me really thirsty.
Oh,
true. It was very effective. I was literally sitting there. I had an empty glass of water next to me, and I was like, gosh, why can't that just fill up right now? I'm really thirsty.
For some beer and cranberry juice.
Or water. Water's good.
Or water,
Those are my options.
What about favorite characters?
Okay, I like the Phantom as a character. I don't like him as a love interest. I don't want him to be with Christine, but I do think he's an interesting character, and I just love the way he messes with people in the opera house. He's just
it's fun.
I'm gonna ventriloquy my way into freaking people out, and they think I have multiple heads. He's like, I built this trapdoor and I made this mechanism that will either blow the place up or flood it. And also I'm a ventriloquist. And
he pulls that really like right at the end. Also a really good singer.
I wanna watch the Phantom's HGTV show, he like has trapdoors.
Today we're gonna build a torture chamber.
I was like, good.
They call him the king of strangulation.
But he's also the prince of trapdoors. Let's see how he does it.
His own theme song.
Oh my gosh.
That's hysterical.
So I think he's a great character. And also, I'm not gonna lie, I don't love Christine or Raoul that much. They're just kind of, they're too in love with each other, and it just makes them annoying. They don't really do anything else.
I just don't even feel like Christine's bad.
I don't think
she's either. Like, he's better than all my other options.
I truly think she's just like, I'm not in love with the Phantom.
Maybe Raoul can get me out of this.
Raoul from childhood. Sure, that's good enough. Yeah,
that's fine.
And she kind of just has this heart where she's like, oh gosh, he's so into me. I don't want to disappoint him. And he hasn't done anything wrong. So
our Christine has a bit of a bleeding heart, which is also why she has the opportunity to escape the night before with Raoul, but she wants to give her last performance because she thinks it would be too cruel to basically not let the Phantom see her sing one last time. And I'm like, girl, okay, bleeding heart.
Just get out of there. He'll live or he won't. Let the chips fall where they may. Is that even a saying?
Exactly. Yes, it is.
Okay. Thought I mixed them up a little bit.
My least favorite character was Raoul. I was just like, please contribute something, Raoul. And he was like, I have nothing to contribute but my tears. And I was like, then get out, Raoul.
I'm gonna say it. My favorite character is Raoul.
Is it?
I think he's hilarious. Well, maybe tied for the Persian.
Oh, the Persian.
The Persian.
I thought he was so funny. Like I was
the Persian's
like, Raoul, nobody's
character.
doing it like you. And by that I mean failing this bad.
I
just
for a reason nobody's doing it like him.
But the Persian actually was great.
Amazing.
Yeah.
The person's fantastic. The person is the most like competent and crushable character in this entire book.
Is great. He's just competent. I mean, it's a low bar, but he is also just really good in a vacuum.
It is a low bar. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. That says something about a person. What would you do if you were dropped into a really weird illusion torture chamber? You know,
cry and waste water, or try to find a way out.
Yeah, this is the new personality test. Are you the Persian or are you Raoul?
Or are you the Phantom?
Oh,
are you
the mastermind? Yeah.
I feel like Karissa of the three of us would be the Phantom.
That's why he's my favorite. I would assume. You know,
is.
also, again, I think the movie colors how I view this, because one of the reasons I don't like Raoul a lot is in the movie, there's this part, I think it's in song and I'm not going to sing it, but where Christine is essentially like, because in the movie, instead of her just getting kidnapped, you know, out of the blue, it's a plan. Like they use her as bait. And then she, like the night before, she's like, Raoul, I'm really scared. And he's like, Christine, all of our hopes are pinned on you. And I'm like, dude, that's the least helpful thing you could possibly say right now.
Oh my God, I forgot about that.
And that was the moment I was like, okay, if I have to choose, I'm going Phantom. So
I was gonna watch the movie right after this because I honestly have only seen it one time. Like I barely remember
I'm so ready to watch it again. Once a year I watch it and get in like full Phantom mode for like a straight week. So I have to like be like cognizant of when I'm gonna watch it and go full Phantom. That is hysterical.
I've been listening to All I Ask of You on repeat. I think it's one of the best songs ever written.
It is. It is. So much of the music is, and every time I was telling Karissa again yesterday, I was like, you know, every time I watch one of the opera, I think I could hit that note. Can I? Absolutely not. But
all in my head,
my angel of music.
And it doesn't matter because I know this about myself, and I'm gonna go watch this movie and be like, what am I thinking? Of course I can hit that note. Nope. And Javi has always been gone for my Phantom week, so he's never seen me obsessively sing
to try to hit
the
that
opera
note.
music. Yeah, for like a week straight. And I'm like, I don't think he's ready for this. I don't think he knows.
There is like this interesting delusion that I have that sometimes I'll hear someone sing and I'm like, that's got to be super easy, right? Like that's not that impressive. And then I try it and I'm like, oh, that's why they have to train and stuff. It's actually really hard.
Yeah,
seriously.
exactly.
Oh my God.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
So when you have a strong imagination, you're like, I can imagine myself as anything.
Yeah.
That could be me.
Including an opera singer.
I'm basically Christine Daae, so you know.
Yeah.
Who isn't?
So
Easy.
Let's see, what about favorite quotes?
Okay.
I have mine pulled up. Hold on.
I don't.
And this is kind of getting back to like the ugliness thing. Okay, so yeah, I don't know what chapter or page it is, but it's toward the end. And I think this is from the Persian's perspective, but it says about the Phantom, his horrible, unparalleled, and repulsive ugliness put him without the pale of humanity. And it often seemed to me that for this reason, he no longer believed that he had any duty toward the human race at all.
Ooh.
And I think that just sums him up really well.
I think it does too.
Yeah, I like that one.
Mine was Christine and Raoul are talking, and she says, "Are people so unhappy when they love?" And he said, "Yes, Christine, when they love and are not sure of being loved." And I'm like, true. That's kind of the Phantom's whole thing too. He's like, I'm in love with her, in love quotes, and I'm gonna make it everybody's problem.
Yeah. I'm about to make this everyone's problem.
Yes.
Yeah. It is interesting that like I feel like a big theme of this book is the whole idea of selfish versus selfless love. I don't know that there's any selfless love going on at all, but it is kind of they just constantly say like, I'm in love with you, I love you. And I think in real life too, people kind of use that as an excuse to do things to people as opposed to a reason to treat them better. And so it's just like in your face here to extremes, like I'm gonna kill people and I'm gonna kidnap you and that kind of stuff. But Raoul does that too. He kind of does pressure her in certain ways, like if you were a good person you'd love me, you know.
He definitely
and
does. The entitlement of these men is off the charts.
So entitled. Ugh.
Yeah, but anyway, I like that theme.
I like that too. I am trying to pick a quote right now from Goodreads, I'm not gonna lie. But the problem is I wanted to go with the first quote, which makes me seem so cheap.
I literally saved it because I knew you were going to pick it.
Really?
Do it.
Okay, yes, I'm going to do it then. Because
it's one of the best.
This backs me up. It's a really good one. If I am the phantom, it is because man's hatred has made me so. If I am to be saved, it is because your love redeems me. Which is
good.
Totally just a straight
Good stuff.
excuse and totally just placing blame everywhere but on him. But I mean, I think it's very like broken human like nature to think that way. So
I think a lot
like
of people do think that way. They just don't say it out loud.
Yeah. And Joe Goldberg from you.
Yeah.
He's an extreme example, but it's true. It's anything that you blame. If you blame like your past for the way that you are now, that's what this is. Or even if you say, oh yeah, like my spouse made me such a better person, you're doing the same thing. Like take credit for your bullshit and take credit for your wins. Like if you're a good, decent person, it's because you made yourself a decent person. Congratulations. Right. If you're acting shitty, it's because you've chosen to act shitty, and like that's it.
Yeah,
but
it's true.
But I mean, you do have to overcome like the nature and nurture that has gotten you to where you are. And our boy Eric did not do that at all and never grasped the concept.
He did not. He was just kind of like, people abused me, so it's cool if I abuse other people for better reasons, right? Yeah. It's like,
I think that might also be part of why some girls like him, is this idea of, I want to be the reason that a man redeems himself. Like I want to be the reason, you know.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, I mean, men and women, like want to have like kind of like the savior thing, but especially we call it the bird with the broken wing thing, you know, like or trying to fix someone. I think a lot of women have that because there's something to being the person that somebody changes for that makes you think, well, they just love me enough to change. But again, you can't take credit for that, because if they did actually change, that was on them. They chose to change. Maybe you were a factor, an influencing factor in their life, but there's nothing you can do to make another person change. They have to choose to change.
I've always hated that, because I'm like, I don't want someone to love me enough to change. I want them to already be a good person, and therefore it to mean something when they love me, you know? I don't get that. And like, what if they only change for you? Then that means that their good personhood is dependent on you loving them back.
Or on you making them feel loved, which is contingent on many things. I have a big problem. That's my big problem with it, is that if somebody is so quote unquote changeable, then how can you rely on them to remain loving anyways? If they're going to just flip flop for you, which is why change should never happen, because like it should never happen for another person. Maybe it can happen because of another person in small part, but definitely not for, because then it's too malleable.
And then this is only sort of related, but another trope that I actually kind of like, because I think it's like deliciously evil, but like I think it's bad if it really happens, is like this bad thing happened to me, like the person I love, something happened to them, and so now I'm gonna be evil. Because then it's like, okay, so that's exactly what happened, like you were only good because of this. So now that it's gone, you're like, well, I have an excuse now to be bad. And it's like, okay, that's not really what anyone wants.
That's not how it works. Still your fault.
Exactly.
But cool.
Exactly. Very much so. Which is why our identity should not be tied up with the people in our lives. We should be fully functioning people, regardless of who's in our life. But
there's all my codependent asked that.
But that takes us to lessons learned, which we already just said some lessons, but
I guess we did just say a lot of them.
I would say if you know that someone's planning to kidnap you and you have like a whole 24 hours to get out of town, maybe do that.
I second that.
And especially if someone's already kidnapped you, you don't owe them anything. You don't owe them a concert, like a last concert or anything. I think.
Christine, like you did enough, honey.
I think you're good.
You're good. You can run.
You're good. You can go.
Conscious is clear.
You're good.
Wow. That's a nice one.
I think another one is when someone demands a safety pin, bring them the damn safety pin. So
you never know what that could be for.
There's
maybe a couple of chapters later, you know.
You may never know.
Some lesson about the scorpion and what is it, the frog?
Yes.
The cricket.
The grasshopper. It is weird that the scorpion was the option that did not murder a bunch of people, which you would think would be the opposite. So scorpions are not always as dangerous as grasshoppers.
He was like barely hiding the fact that he just really wanted to murder people. He was like, you know what? I'm gonna make this as hard as possible because I'm gonna
trick her with the symbolism.
And if I do kill people, it's gonna be on you for
it's on you. It's not because I made this an impossible riddle. Like, definitely it's
your fault. Just like I'm a good person if you make me a good person. So I have absolutely no responsibility for my actions.
Yeah. So really, if you're gonna kill people, kill them yourself. Don't put it on someone else.
Just own it. Like,
yeah.
if he was just evil and like owned it, I'd respect him more, honestly.
I would have respected it more.
Yeah.
Still, let's not kill anyone. We're not condoning that.
It's true. Don't do that.
Definitely,
unless it looks really cool.
Unless you do it with a torture dungeon in an underground cavern with a lake under a
know
house.
that you're gonna swing yourself some really badass title like King of Strangulation.
Yeah. Then follow your dreams.
Yeah. So maybe don't. But I think that
scratch that.
So scratch that. But we can take out of that the real lesson of don't ask anyone to do something you wouldn't do yourself. I mean, sure.
True.
Yeah, if you want to take that to like a somewhat real place. There's got to be some lesson with Raoul.
I'm thinking about if a Persian tells you to put your hand at the level of your eyes, just do it. Don't ask questions. He knows what he's doing. He's smarter than you.
Yeah. Also, I think, honey, you can wait. There's better options out there. I promise you.
For
the
Christine.
men in your life right now are not your only app. To Christine, to anyone out there who's like, I feel like I could maybe make these puzzle pieces fit together, but maybe they don't quite, or maybe there's something better. There's something better.
Does in fact get better.
Wait it out, hon. It does get better. You will find a different person who is more suited to you. Just wait it out, because it's not going to be forever. You do not need to settle for Raoul.
Yep. Psychopath and crybaby are not the only two options.
No, I promise there's more. I promise there's more options.
Yes. And I'm not like insulting people who cry. It's the degree to which he cries.
and it's the lack of action he took. Like if he was crying but actively being helpful, I'd be like, whatever.
No. Here, I think he really gave it his all. His all is just so not
low.
Good, like
I think
really
I just don't
trying.
have much respect for that.
And he like actively was looking for her. It's not his fault that he's too dumb
really bad at everything
to like be able to incompetent.
The cop is like, I think your brother actually kidnapped her and is on his way out of the city. And he's like, oh my gosh, I'll go hunt them down. Then he leaves the room and the cop is like, see, being a police officer is getting other people to do police work for you.
I'm like, sir, you better call him back because he's not gonna do it. Like
he's not gonna
he gets distracted literally right away.
Yeah, I just don't have a ton of respect for Raoul. I don't know if there's any other. You probably, you know what? If you think you can hit the note, I bet you can do it if you want it enough.
If you train with the angel of music and let him kidnap you a few times, you can eventually hit that note.
Absolutely not. If you hear a voice singing to you from within your wall, leave the house and call the police.
Get the hell out of there, dude.
Get the
Don't
hell
let the OG get you.
That's what kills me. It's like when you see like those when you see like those like haunting videos on TikTok where someone will be like tapping the wall and like something taps back and they're like, wow. And I'm like, get out. What are you doing?
Leave the house.
I cannot fathom that. Like, no. The second I think something is haunting me, I'm out of there.
Do you know what is so much scarier to me than like a haunted house is like when they find like someone's been living in their attic or their basement. That is so much scarier. That's my nightmare.
That's creepy.
Phantom is doing.
That is what he's doing.
That is what he is. He is
terrifying.
real.
It is so much scarier than if he weren't actually a ghost. I would rather him be a ghost. It's so much scarier that he's just a man who's like living in the ground and the walls.
It's so scary. Somebody living in the walls is the worst thing I've ever heard of.
I'm getting like goosebumps and I'm like,
that's terrifying.
Terrible.
It's a nightmare.
Okay, wait, can I share one more quote real fast that's on the funnier side? It's like pseudo related. So it's toward the beginning and they've just said,
there's a good one.
No, but it's like a French attitude and it's about like all the sightings of the Phantom. It says, after all, who had seen him? You meet so many men in dress clothes at the opera who are not ghosts. Maybe crack up.
That's true.
Like, most people you meet are not ghosts. So how could you know if you met a ghost?
This is true. This is some good points.
Gaston is really like he
knows his stuff.
Yeah. So we're doing a new segment where we do first impressions, which I meant to do before we started the summary. This is a little different because we already had first impressions. Usually we like first impressions of the book cover. But I guess, do you remember what your first impression of Phantom of the Opera as a story or movie or whatever was before you actually watched it?
Well, I think the first time I watched it was at GCU with you and Marianne, and it was several years after it had even come out. It was, I don't know, it came out a long time ago. And I just remember thinking, oh, opera, that's so boring. And then just not being interested in it at all. So I thought it was going to be like really boring.
That was my first impression before I saw it as well. I thought this is going to be opera and I'm not interested in opera.
Yep.
So what about you, Spoons?
Well, I mean, I was aware of it like as a musical, you know, but I didn't really know a lot, I guess. But then Emily made me watch the movie because there was a meme going around for a while. I think it was a Vine, and it was like this little weird prairie dog thing, and it would be like, "Sing for me, my angel of music," and then it would be like, "Oh." Anyway, it was very dumb, but it was funny at the time, and so
it was still funny.
I was like, "Is this from Phantom of the Opera?" And she was like, "We have to watch it." So
we have to know the context.
We watched it at her house, and I cried a lot because I cannot handle. Yeah, I mean, I'm such a Raoul. Let's be honest. I cannot handle like people being cruel to like, that's why I had such a hard time with Hunchback of Notre Dame. So like the flashbacks with the Phantom in the movie, I was like, I can't even watch this. I can't even watch this. It's and it made me so upset. But then like, so like the like last half of the movie, because I feel like they talk about that a little earlier in the movie.
I think so.
Sure. So so like basically from then on, the whole time I was like, maybe he should just die. that was what I was like crying about,
like just let him out of his misery.
Seriously, because I was like, I'm not that like everybody who's been abused should die,
right?
But like he had already ruined his life so badly at that point that I was like, I don't know if he can be redeemed.
Well, you and Gaston were on the same page.
In a lot of pain too, so maybe it would be better if he was dead.
Yeah. Oh, like if the plot takes it there, I might be like, you know.
Yeah, I was like, I mean, maybe he should just die. That's what I thought.
He's also killed so many people.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, you have murdered too many people for me to like root for you anymore, but I feel bad for you. So these feelings are resulting in me thinking you should be out of the picture. So I don't have to worry
very reasonable. Very reasonable. Well, how many pinkies up would we give this book?
I gave it 4. I do like it.
All right. So. Spoons.
I think that y'all are going to be surprised. I'm going to give it 2.75.
Ooh, okay. That's like lower. That's like a whole pinky up lower than I thought.
Pinky
down.
I like parts of it. I like the vibe of it. I thought the vibe was really fun. But I was like, what is happening? Like it was so rambling and like weird at times.
Follow.
And I was like, I like understand sort of like, I felt like I got it, but then I would be like, why are we doing this? Or like, what is
in
happening?
The moment it's weird.
And then like, I felt like some parts of it, I was like, I feel like I could have written this better. No offense to Gaston, but like some of the dialogue was weird, and I was like,
I'm having to assume it was translation, because I kept thinking that too. I was like, there's no way that this book would be as famous as it is if it was like if this was it, because it's not amazing. But
but I did like parts of it a lot.
I am giving it 3.75 pinkies up, which is the same rating that I gave Great Expectations by Charles Dickens. And I'm thinking about that because I have been like debating since Tuesday, like what am I gonna rate it at? I don't know, because I was like, do I like it more? Do I like it less? And I was like, I like it for very different reasons. Like Charles Dickens, that book, Great Expectations, got a lot of points just for the craft being so excellent. But the story and then the twists, all of like the like soap opera-y twists at the end, like really got me. They were great. But this book is getting the majority of its positive pinkies up from the interesting settings and the characters, even the ones I don't like, and the originality of the plot and like the illusions and stuff. But the craft, not at all. And I was like, will I ever read this again? Probably not. So again, it gets a 3.75. But
I just think I really love the French writing style, or whatever that is. It's just so funny. I don't know. It's dry humor. Yeah, true, that too. But I feel like I have to defend it now, but I do it is very disjointed. No, it's okay. You can think whatever you want. I'm just saying I love it for these reasons.
I think it was a great recommendation. I'm glad I read it, you know.
Oh yeah, I'm glad too, because now I like know where the movie came from, and it's
although there are some there are some interesting key differences, like the ending, like they kill Christine, but the Phantom lives on, which is the reverse of the book. So it's interesting that they'd made those decisions, and they eliminated the Persian, the inarguably best character in the original.
He was
the best character.
Yeah, I think he just felt so out of the blue almost in the book, and then they didn't give us the backstory until so much later, and I think that they felt like maybe it was too complicated to try and give the backstory in detail enough to explain the Persian.
Because in the movie, isn't the person who like hid the Phantom in the opera the lady?
Right? It's what's her name, Gary or whatever,
and they were like friends or something.
I think
they kind of like that better.
A few characters.
But I do like the Persian as a character, but I think I like the backstory.
Well, he's my favorite character, but I think the way they told the story in the musical is cleaner.
It is.
Oh, that's it.
But can you just like imagine in the movie or the musical or whatever, the Persian just like appears out of nowhere like many times in the book. They turn around and he's just standing there. It's like he's part of the ghost. Like he's a red herring for the ghost. So I like that.
I like that too. Well, that is Le Fantôme de l'Opéra. I already forgot what it is. Thank you. I probably did that incorrectly. Sorry,
It was the correct words. I don't know about the pronunciation, but
ain't that the problem? I'm trying to see, what do we do next week?
Oh, I don't know.
I'm looking. It's loading.
Also in my head, the acronym is PODO. If anyone were curious about,
Phantom of the Opera. PODO.
PODO.
That's adorable.
Like photo without an H.
The Night Circus. That's what we're reading next episode. Spoons,
cool.
Have you read this before?
I have not.
It is so good. Oh my God. Lewis, you've read it, right?
No.
What?
I haven't.
You would
It's the Aaron Morgan.
Do you want to come back?
I know. I don't have it though. I don't know how to get it.
Buy it or rent it or ebook it or audiobook it.
It's true, but I haven't read it.
I cannot believe that you guys have not read it. I think it is Erin, what's her last name?
Is it Morgenstern or am I getting Cassandra Clare mixed up in there?
No, it's something like that. I'll know next episode, but it's so good. It's like magical illusion, mysterious, dark circus vibes. So I think you guys, it's like right up both of y'all's alley, and I cannot believe that you haven't read it. This was a book rec from, I believe, how would you pronounce the name? Mathea? Mathea? I don't know. In Italian it would be Mathea, but I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I would assume. But
Mathea. I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your name, but it's Mathea Brink. This is a book rec from you. Thank you so much for the book rec. I'm excited about it, and I cannot believe that y'all have not read it. Karissa, if you do read it, you should come back on the episode. So just let me know if you read it, and you can join us again. And then we might have a surprise Lewis again for next episode.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Yeah. I think that that's everything we've got on this book for you guys. So if you guys want to keep it up with us during the week, you can do that. All you got to do is follow us. We are on Instagram. We are on TikTok. We are That Pretentious Book Club. If you guys wouldn't mind leaving a review and or a rating below wherever you're listening to this, that would be fantastic. It's so great to see those. And also, if you guys want bonus content, like you want to see the video recordings of our episodes because you want to see our beautiful faces, and you want, bonus episodes and exclusive merch, you can go to patreon.com/storysirenstudio.com. That's our production company, and you guys can go support us there and get all that cool exclusive content. And if you just want to support us another way and you don't want to subscribe or anything, that's totally fine. You can go to storysirenstudio.com and check out all of the merch that we have there for everybody. It's really cool. My sister, who is our graphic designer, is working on some very cool fall merch right now. So we're going to have some of that soon as well. I'm actually thinking I'll probably bring back for a limited time the fall merch we had last year, which was pretty good. It was a bunch of stuff that said always falling for the villain. So it does not apply to either of my co-hosts, but it does to me and to probably the Phantom girlies also.
Yeah, the Phantom girlies, that one's for you.
Yeah, this is for you, Phantom girlies. But yeah, that's everything I've got for you guys. So if you guys have book recs for next season, you can DM us or you can email us at contact@storysirenstudio.com. And until next week, keep your teacups full,
your pinkies high,
and your book club pretentious.
Yay!